see that, man. Come on, man. All right.
Hey, what are you doing, man? Hey, what are you doing? Come on, quit messing around, Drake.
Do it, Bishop.
Hey, not me, man.
Yeah, you.
Hey, come on, quit messing around.
Don't
Come
move.
on.
Trust me.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Big Apple Hockey. This is a special episode this week. Our big show will be Wednesday when Anthony LaRocco will join us. And we got so much to talk about. And by the way, if you're joining us on Instagram and watching, this is our brand new Instagram layout. Doesn't leave much headroom for us to move, but, you know, we're going to have to be cognizant of that. All right, guys, I, of course, am your host, Mark Williams. Delighted once again to be joined by the host of the Final Buzzer, Mr. John Filkowski.
Special episode, a lot to talk about. So without further ado, Mr. Jim Biringer of Full Press Hockey.
What's up, fellas? How we doing? Glad to be here. JB rocking along, Full Press Hockey. Glad to be a part of this crew. Special episode. Mark, let's go. Let's take it away.
Yeah, because, I mean, we originally were going to do this just to talk about the Hall of Fame class coming next year. But then a lot of news broke over the weekend, and I was in Nashville, so we couldn't get to most of this. We got to go with this one, guys, and it's making me just shake my head. Jack Hughes is out for the next 2 months after cutting his hand at a team dinner. And the place was called the Chicago Cut House.
Yeah.
A little bit ironic, a little bit on the nose on that one. Jim, what's actually the official word on this? And I feel bad broadcasting this because I keep saying he's the nephew of a former teammate of mine when I was younger. It's a good kid. It's just making me shake my head.
Yeah, I mean, look, officially he slipped, unforeseen freak accident, as they're calling it, had surgery on Saturday on his pinky finger, torn, hopefully not too many tendons and nerves in the hand. So he's only out 2 months. But again, speaking with some people, it could be a 6 to 8 week injury. He's going to be reevaluated after 6 weeks. Slipped and fell at a team dinner. We all know who was there. We've all seen it over the internet. And yeah, the Devils had a big win Wednesday night in Chicago, 4-3. Simone Nemec with the hat trick. And now the Devils, go finish their 5-game road trip after their win in Washington without Jack Hughes. They're just going to have to grind it out. And look, it's unfortunate because he never can finish a full season for the New Jersey Devils. 1 year he played 78 games, 99 points, and we know what happened that year. But the rest of it's been on the ice injury, shoulders. This is just, again, it's a freak accident. Again, it's one of those things that you don't want to have happen. It's like 95, 96 when Bobby Holik, quote unquote, officially got hurt at practice and hurt his ankle. We all know this. The real story, sources have told me he was playing ping pong and twisted his ankle. So yeah, take it for what it's worth here. But the Devils, major blow to this team. And now they're in the situation the Florida Panthers are in where they have to grind it out. But luckily for New Jersey, looks like Dougie Hamilton, Connor Brown will be on a trip. So hopefully reinforcements are there to help them out and figure out how to get through this unforeseen circumstance.
I mean, Phil, this is not something that the Devils have had to go through only just now. They've had life without Jack Hughes plenty of times. And last year, after the Four Nations, after his injury, they had the number 1 power play in the NHL. So what now for the Devils, do you think?
Tread water. Jesper Bratt, part 2.
Yeah.
I mean, he stepped up big time last year for them. It was really good for them. Had, 88 points, I think he finished with. I mean, this is the time to prove that he's, once again, not a byproduct of Jack Hughes, and I don't think he is. This is where he steps up. This is where he takes over, makes it his team, and that you start to see the offensive depth of his team. You want to see more from Dawson Mercer, who's had a pretty good season so far. Nico Hischier, you want to see the offense there. Timo Meier, you brought him in a big trade, and he's been decent so far, but he can be better, and this is where he has to be better for them. Jacob Markstrom, for all the criticism he's got, I call him Mr. Leap Year. He's actually one of the leaders in worst expected goals saved He hasn't had a great year. I think he can be better than what he's been so far. I do think that there are other pieces here to keep an eye on. Simone Nemec had a hat trick the other night.
And he had the game winner in Washington in the shootout.
He had the game winner in Washington. Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that looks like he's starting to take that next step. Everyone was looking at Seamus Casey, but it's been Simone Nemec that's really been the young gun that stepped up this year. So it's next man up syndrome, and it's time for the Devils. Jack Hughes is really your offensive linchpin, and that's not going to change. But these guys really need to start making their marks. Obviously not Bratt. Bratt's been great. The others really need to start stepping up. Nemec just needs to continue what he's doing and keep developing. And the Devils will probably be all right, especially in a division where the Rangers and the Islanders are up and down. They're playing well right now. Obviously, Rangers with a blip last night, I guess, if you want to say that. I don't know. But I still think this is a division that they can win. So what now for the Devils? Just keep doing what you're doing. And just make sure that you're showing up and skating hard every night. Their speed's still going to give teams fits.
Yeah, this is where you're going to see, again, how good of a captain Nico Hischier is. I think he's already answered that question, and he's a good leader of this team. Now, to the Hughes thing, back to that, just when is the adults going to be in the room? Just like it's just where it comes. Look, last year the injury was a freak thing that happened between him and Jack Eichel. Then you go to something like this. This is entirely preventable. And I mean, there's a long list of injuries throughout the history of sports where they go, "Oh, we got it this way." You just come out and just tell the truth on it, and let everything be known. Just throw it out there and let everybody else make their decisions. Because I'm still not 100% positive myself, and I really hope he wasn't playing the ninth game like Bishop. So I just really hope that. But again, you also got to realize you're the face of a franchise, a star of a team, a star in the NHL. And at the moment, between him and his brother, we'll probably talk about it Wednesday. I'm not sure if they can even count on them being healthy enough for Team USA. So that's another big factor.
I think one of them will probably be there. The other one, we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that Wednesday. I think the older defenseman will be there. The younger defenseman doesn't have a shot at being there just because the blue line's loaded. Jack Hughes, in my opinion, and I'll get more into it on Wednesday, he's borderline for me. If you want to win a gold medal in the Olympics, I would take Matthew Nyes over Jack Hughes, and I'm not thinking twice.
See, there's other questions now that's formulating in my head I want to follow that up with, but we're going to just let it keep going.
Look, I just saw a question in the chat. I'll throw it up here. The cap space for them. I mean, look, they don't have the cap space right now. Come the summer, they're going to have to make some decisions, and there's going to be a lot of decisions to make on Nemec and a few other players on this team when it comes to money, and they don't have a lot of money right now to make a move. I do think Tom Fitzgerald's going to have to get creative when it comes to acquiring somebody, and I think he needs to get a center, and he needs to get center depth. Cody Glass is out. He's been crucial to this team 5-on-5.
He's been great.
He's been excellent for them 5-on-5. I think, again, circle the two biggest targets. Ryan O'Reilly, Braden Shen are the two biggest targets. The Devils are going to have to get creative and figure out how to do it. I don't think, look, and Anthony can chime in wherever he is, or he'll talk about it Wednesday. I don't see a scenario where the Devils are getting Jean-Gabriel Pageau from the Islanders, because I think the Islanders are going to stick around until the trade deadline. And I think they're just going to, unless there's an offer you cannot refuse, I just don't see it. And I think those are the two biggest targets the Devils are going to go after when it comes to centers. They need it. And even with the cap going up, they still have decisions to make. Again, $9 million on the back end. This is why you try to win contract negotiations in the summer and you don't give players what they want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because once you do, you gotta like navigate those waters of the salary cap. That's just makes it more difficult. other news that broke this week, and it's I guess the best way to say it is just mixed feelings for a lot of people. But New York Post writer Larry Brooks passed away, age of actually I think it was 75. I think I have the wrong dates up there, but he was very polarizing with a lot of people. But I mean, Phil, you were one guy. You had some Twitter feuds with him.
No.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, I thought he had you blocked.
No.
Oh. Oh no, sorry.
My tweet said he DM'd me.
Oh my goodness, the other way. Oh, it's the other way around. Is my friend Scott?
No. He and I were good.
Okay.
He actually DM'd me because there was probably a span. I don't even know what, but it was a while. Whether it was last season or season before, I can't remember. But I had complimented a bunch and retweeted a bunch of things that he'd said, and he DM'd me out of nowhere, unprompted, and thanked me for everything.
Mm-hmm.
We chatted for a little bit, and he was very nice. Rick Carpinello was one that blocked me. I got into it a long time ago, but Larry was a big influence for me. I wanted to be what Larry Brooks was when I realized at a very young age I was never playing in the NHL. So the next thing I wanted to do in terms of a dream job was to cover it, whether it was writing for it, because I loved writing about hockey and talking about it, or being a broadcaster. And Larry was a big influence. I always read Larry's stuff. I knew Larry was the most connected. He was a guy that, I looked up to. And the one thing that I loved about Larry more than anything was that he was a fan above all else. And he had the stones to ask the questions that no one will ask. No offense to Vince, Molly, Colin, Peter, Arthur Staple, anyone else that's covered this team. But you're in a world these days where if you ask the wrong questions or you ask them the wrong way or you push the wrong button, your access can get revoked. And we've seen that with Anthony and the whole Sorokin and Romanov thing and how that worked out. So for Larry to be able to go and say the things he said and criticize the team the way he did and ask the tough questions, I have so much respect for a guy like that. Like, he's real. He's absolutely 110% real. And John Tortorella made just a wonderful tribute to him and really kind of summed it up by saying, like, there was a deep respect between the two of them, and don't go by that 20-second clip because that's not how things were behind the scenes all the time. You could butt heads with somebody, but still have a very good and relationship and a very deep respect for the people, you work with and interview and everything. So, I mean, Larry Brooks, just Hall of Famer for a reason. Elmer Ferguson Award winner in 2018, Hall of Famer for a reason. He was one of the best to ever do it. And you know what? If we could be even as 10th of a good at what we do as he was, as what he did, then you know what? We're doing something right.
Jim, what are your thoughts on Larry Brooks?
Yeah, Larry Brooks, good dude. Grew up reading them. Even though in Jersey, we never always got the New York Post. I'd go and find it because I always liked reading his column on Sundays. But he's a good writer. I mean, he asked the tough questions. Him and I shared some stories from the 2014 Stadium Series about Marty Brodeur when we saw each other up there at the Hall of Fame during when Lundqvist went in. Much respect to him because, he just asked the tough questions. And sometimes you got to ask the tough questions and make people feel uncomfortable because you got to hold some people accountable sometimes, right? Like, you got to ask those difficult questions. And he did. And he was in the know and he connected. He was really good. And like, it's unfortunate, like such sad news to wake up to and see because you didn't really know how hard he was battling or what he was going through because he just showed up, right? He was always there. And then, at the beginning of this year training camp, he wasn't there and people wanted to know where was Larry. And that's how he was like, it's like New York Rangers, Larry Brooks. Like, you just knew, right? Like, you knew. And, saw him at Four Nations. Seemed pretty good. So, I mean, yeah, he was one of the good guys. Glad glad I got to know him, talk to him. Have our differences of opinions for sure, no doubt. But hey, you know what? Good man, and now he's covering some legends up there in heaven.
Yeah, and he's not in the Hockey Hall of Fame, right?
Who?
Larry Brooks?
Yeah, he is. He went in his
He is?
Ferguson. Yeah,
we're Ferguson Award winner in 2018.
2018, yep.
That's why I said that.
All right, guys, thanks. By the way, sorry, I was trying to reconnect Instagram for a second. But it's one of those things that, because I wasn't sure whether or not they honored him with that, because I know Stan Fischler still hasn't been honored, and I'm still kind of
we're all kind of wondering why that one is.
Yeah, I listen, say what you want about Stan Fischler, but he's another one that absolutely deserves it.
But I mean, Larry Brooks talked about the Rangers probably more than any sports writer in this area over decades now. I mean, usually if you had somebody that was covering the team, they usually moved on to a different beat or something like that. He was all just about hockey. And the tribute John Tortorella had for him was amazing. Especially for everybody that looks at the two of them and just think, that they were always just combative.
No,
not necessarily the case. And, especially not with John Tortorella. He might be combative with you in the moment, but everybody's found out John Tortorella is a nicer guy than what has been kind of perceived.
He's a damn good human being.
He's a damn good human being, and he's a damn good coach. And there's a lot of misconceptions about John Tortorella out there that people need to actually talk to the guy, because it's not like the biggest one when I met him for the first time was like, oh, I heard you, like we hashed it out. I was like, I always heard that you never liked young players. He's like, I never said that. It may come off that way, but it's because I want them to work hard as everybody else, because I know the potential in them. That I push them to be as good as possible. Like, it's not that I hate young guys. I want them to live up to their standard, to their potential. And when they don't, he's disappointed, because he wants everybody to work hard and be good at what they're supposed to be good. So yeah, Torts is like you said, Torts is one of those unique characters, right? And again, he's good at what he does on TV. He's a good coach, and I don't know if he'll ever get back into coaching anymore, but look, he was good with Philadelphia, the Rangers, with all the stops that he's had along the way. He's pushed guys to get better. That's what he did. And Larry Brooks kind of pushed the Rangers to get better at times too, right?
Yeah. And Phil?
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'll say this just to go to your point, Jimmy, about the young guys and getting the most out of them, and even Evan's comment here, pushing the players out of love. Like, I'll never forget when he pushed the buttons with Vinny Lecavalier. He challenged him in the 2004 Stanley Cup Finals. And what did he go out and do? Had one of the best I would say probably the best 3 or 4 game stretch of his career. And he even fought Jerome McGinley. Like, do you think any other coach is going to get that out of Vinny Lecavalier?
No.
And I would love to sit down and ask Vinny himself about Torts and what Torts meant to him. Because I can guarantee you that Vinny's got a lot of praise for Torts. I mean, so again, it's one of those guys like Keenan. Keenan pushed a lot of buttons, and he may have pissed a lot of guys off. But no, I don't know if there's another coach that could have gotten 1994 Conn Smythe Brian Leetch out of Brian Leetch. Like, that's one of the most dominant performances we have ever seen by a defenseman in a playoff run.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's those coaches that they just blend so well with some of the players that they've coached over the years. Just going back to Torts, we'll get back to Larry Brooks for one more second. I mean, Brian Callahan's right there too, as another guy that was a Torts guy that just he was everything a Torts player would want to be, or in Torts' mind would want him to be. That he's always fighting for every inch of ice, working hard, and he's dangerous on both ends too. I mean, Callahan scored 29 goals with the 2012 Rangers, and who could forget in the shortened season 2013, the game against Winnipeg, when he blocked 2 shots, threw 2 checks, all with a broken stick, and then scored, I believe, at the end of that. So, but finishing off with Brooks, you always want to be that guy you always want to be that relationship, I think, where it's respectful. And sure, there were guys that flew off the handle with him. Dan Boyle comes to mind. But then after the fact, you're probably thinking to yourself, hey, you know what? It was probably a fair question than what he asked me, and I was probably wrong on that. And Torts and him had some great sparring matches. And it was almost reminiscent of Bill Parcells and what he would do with the media. But hearing that he called Larry before all this, and again, his emotional reaction to it, it's words can't describe it right now. I'm trying to describe it, I just can't. But let's focus now on who should make the next Hall of Fame class. We were going to try to include this Wednesday after such great introductory speeches like what Joe Thornton had, or seeing that class that just went in. But you got to look at these names that are all coming up. Phil, I'll start with you. I think this one's an easy one. Patrice Bergeron.
There's a lot you can talk about with Patrice Bergeron. I mean, 427 goals, 613 assists, 1,040 points. He's 84th all time in points, which is crazy because he's known as a good two-way center. At 6 Selke trophies, will regard you as probably the best two-way center ever. He's a triple Gold Club member. And when you look at it, the only things you could say against him would probably be the fact that not enough standout offensive seasons, but he did play a good portion of his peak years in a time where offense was kind of at a low. I mean, Jamie Benn once won a scoring trophy with 87 points. He won it on the last game of the season. And his best offensive seasons for Bergeron, that is, didn't come until David Pasternak's emergence. But if you ask me, should they get in? Yes. And prediction? I think he's a first ballot guy. I'll hand it to you guys.
Yeah, I'm going first ballot Hall of Famer Patrice Bergeron. I watched him play. Was lucky enough to be around the Bruins beat for a while too with Jimmy Murphy and that 2019 run without that top line of Marchand, Pasternak, and Bergeron, they're not getting as far as they did. Selke Trophy standard on how to play two-way. Sidney Crosby loved playing with him at World Juniors, at the Olympics, World Cup. I mean, they've done it. He's done it all. Triple gold guys going to the Hall of Fame. I mean, it took Alexander McGillney a while to get it, but he finally got in. But Patrice Bergeron, to me, original 16, Boston Bruin. Yeah, Chara, now Bergeron. Yeah, that's a lock for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go everything that you guys just said. I'm going to add one more thing. Very easy to get along with the press. And guys that are usually combative can sometimes have issues with that. You don't see guys that are really like anti-press or that have trouble with the press that get into the Hall of Fame quickly. In this case, you're talking about a guy that's been to 3 Stanley Cup finals, that was injured in 2013 in that war against the Chicago Blackhawks. And he was instrumental, if not critical, to the Boston Bruins winning the Stanley Cup in 2011. But then you also take into all the Team Canada stuff. Yeah, like you guys just said, and that everybody just liked him. He was just a delight for everybody, always to be around. It's a shame that the best team he ever played on went out in the first round. But that was also the Florida Panthers. But as Joe's saying right here.
I mean, if you look at it, if Marchand puts it away when he was still a Bruin, maybe the Bruins actually win the cup that year. We don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know. Like, he was an inch away from putting that in the net. Like, you shot it right into Bobrovsky. Like, again, I mean, Bergeron, and think about it too. If you talk to people from Boston, it was like the transition year. They were kind of down he was the transition from the Thornton, and then they brought it was him, and then they come into this with Pasternak and all those guys now. So Marchand really and Bergeron and all that crew kind of restructured the Boston Bruins and started getting them up in that upward trajectory where we always viewed them as a top team in that Atlantic Division.
Yeah, and he's part of that vaunted 2003 draft class.
Yeah.
Phil, I'm not going to do it. But if me doing that also kind of accidentally does it.
You basically just did it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. We got the next one coming up. Phil Kessel. So, Jim, what do you think about Phil Kessel's chances at the Hall of Fame?
First ballot, not very good. Down the line, I could see it. Again, I look at it this way because there's the guy coming up later on and who played for my team, who I've been pounding the drum for. But you look at the guys that have gotten in recently. Is it really the Hall of Fame or is it really the Hall of Very Good? Because, yeah, Kessel won those 2 cups in Pittsburgh. He was part of the HBK line. Was really good in Toronto, really good in Boston, and he was driving offense. But to me, you got to look at his numbers compared to everybody else in there. And not everybody's a Hall of Famer. There's a lot of very good players in the National Hockey League. Fell short of 1,000 points, 413 goals, 579 assists. I mean, does he get in eventually? I'm not sure. He's definitely not a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Phil?
So he's not in the top 100 all-time in points.
No.
He's 11th all-time in goals and points among American-born players. His playoff record's actually pretty impressive. I will give him that.
Yeah, he won the 3 cups. He won. I forgot about the one with Vegas. He was on that team.
No, he wasn't.
He was technically on that team.
Yeah, he was technically on the team.
Yeah, they don't list him as a 3-time cup winner. They only list him as 2.
Phil, on Hockey Reference,
no, they do list him as a 3-timer on Hockey Reference. Yeah, they do have him as a 3-time winner. Let's see. He did play 4 games. Okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, so he's a 3-time cup winner, but it's just I don't think the numbers are good enough. Again, Hall of Very Good. I look at it this way: silver medalist winner, but his international resume really isn't strong. The Ironman streak does account for something, but I mean, there's another player we're going to talk about with games played, obviously. So I'll leave that up to the imagination. But only 4 seasons of 80+ points. He just missed the 1,000 point mark. Career 77 points per game, 0.77. Sorry. No individual awards. And then, where amongst his generation, where does he rank? I mean, I have a hard time seeing it. I mean, I don't think he should be in, and I don't think he's going to. A very good player. Somebody I always loved, especially as a guy that's not in the greatest shape in the world. You gotta love a guy like Phil Kessel, who does not look like an athlete, but it absolutely rip. Yeah, this comment right here from Nico. Phil Kessel proves having a 6-pack is overrated.
Well, Phil Kessel had a 6-pack. He just had them in cans.
Yeah, I was about to say he probably had a 6-pack of beer and then some hot dogs with it. But, I mean, again, great personality, great with the media. Love an American-born guy that could go out there and absolutely fly and score the way he did. But I just think it's Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, in a word, no. He's not up with the best of all time. Arguably, he should have won a Conn Smythe, at least one of them in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
The first one?
Yeah, perhaps. However, you can't help but also say there was a lot of untapped potential with Phil Kessel. And there was lots of times where he was the punchline of the joke. But, this guy, he just naturally can play hockey. And something, as Bruins fans would say, hey, thanks for Phil Kessel at Toronto, because we got Tyler Seguin out of it. And then he goes off to Pittsburgh. And you think if Pittsburgh's going to take a step back, he ends up winning 2 Stanley Cups with them and has a dominant streak with them. It's just when it comes to him, 992 points, it's not enough. I think he needs 1,000 because there's a guy with more goals, more points, and more of an impact later on in this list as an American who has a better resume as an American, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But let's stick with another guy from that 2003 NHL draft, the number 2 overall pick, Eric Staal. Phil, what do you think?
All right, so this is an interesting one. This is where I really teeter a bit. So 455 goals, 680 assists, 1,063 points in 1,365 games. He's tied for 63rd in goals and 78th in points. Now, only 101 players of all time have scored 1,000 points. So that's pretty rare air. But I think the thing that gets him in is going to be that he's a triple Gold Club member. Stanley Cup 2006, World Championship 2007, 2010 Olympic gold medals with Team Canada. The .77 points per game in his career, just like Kessel, funny enough. No individual awards, but also where does he rank with his generation? That's the reasons why I was like, oh, I don't know. But I think the triple Gold Club and the fact that he's over 1,000 points and he's top 100 all time, top 75 all time in goals, I think he's going to get in, but he's not a first ballot guy for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is where the international, the Olympic stuff's going to come in. And this is, talking with people on the board, like that have been around it, they weigh international play really high because it is the Hockey Hall of Fame. It's just not what you've done in the National Hockey League. And so I think that triple gold stuff, what he did for Team Canada is going to weigh big time. 1,000 points again. But I agree with Phil. If you're asking me to put, guys in the Hall of Fame right away, Eric Staal's not on that list because guys that go into the Hall of Fame right away are elite players, like the Bergerons, like the Chars, like that. Unless you play in certain cities and you're original six guy, which we'll get to probably on this list too. And that was, again, one of the main reasons, and I could say it and people hate me for it, but I'm not the only one who've said it. It's why Lundqvist went in on the first ballot. He played in New York, played his entire career in New York. He never suited up for the Washington Capitals. And he did a lot of stuff internationally for Sweden. That's the biggest reasons why he got in on the first ballot. So to Carolina, what he did 2006, that comes a long time ago for Eric Staal. So I think the international stuff will weigh heavily.
I think the international stuff is what may eventually get him in. Eric Staal is literally the Hall of really good.
Yeah.
Because he had that 2006 season. Never mind just the cup. That was the year he went over 100 points. He never came close to that ever again. Nope. He never hit 100 points ever again after that. So, and where you thought you had a budding superstar, he was just a really good player. There's actually a name I'm going to throw out here later on that I think that's not on this list that I'm going to put on there that I think he reminds me of in a way because he's going to have a strong international resume, but he doesn't have like a tournament MVP or something like that that makes you go, oh, Eric Staal or Eric Staal. There wasn't a time where you looked at Eric Staal and said, that is a great player in the game. He was just really good. And I'm not taking that away from Eric Staal, but now you're putting him up with the best of the best. And a guy that was his coach and his teammate on that team is our next name that's coming up, Rod Brind'Amour. And this is Rod Brind'Amour as a player, not as a coach. Jim, what do you think?
I'm surprised he's not in, to be honest. Like, I'm very, very surprised he's not in. Like, the way he played for the Philadelphia Flyers all those years, he was on that Team Legion of Doom team. He wasn't on that line with Renberg and John LeClaire and Eric Lindros, but he was a crucial part of that team playing a Stanley Cup final. Obviously with the Carolina Hurricanes, they won a Stanley Cup. It's been like that. I guess you could say there's been like a couple faces of Carolina Hurricanes hockey. Eric Staal, Rod Brindamore and Ron Francis, it feels like. And even though Francis played for Pittsburgh, you kind of could say it. He won a world championship for Canada, and that's about it. I mean, yeah, he played Olympics in '98, but he was on the team that lost. You know, he hasn't really done much other than that, but he has over 1,000 points. Again, rare air, but he hasn't gotten to that like 500 goal mark. That seems like everybody's holding that against people. Maybe the fact that he's still coaching and actively coaching, he's not in the Hall of Fame. That could be something against him too. But I'm very, very surprised Rob Brendamore's not in. I hope he gets in this year, but I'm not so sure. I think we'll keep waiting on that one.
Phil?
He's 66th all-time in goals with 452. He's 56th in assists with 732. And his 1,184 points are 55th. Only 69 players have scored 1,100 points. He's a two-time Selke Trophy winner, which is he's one of the best two-way centers of all time. But again, here's the problem. Not a lot of standout seasons. Only 4 of 80 points. 0.79 career points per game. Was he even a top 25 player of his time? And that's really where I think that people are going to look at it and say, but I do think he's going to get it eventually. I do. And I think he deserves to be in. I just think that when you score that much and you are that good of a defensive center, and you got to remember, he didn't win the Selke until he did, because he had to go through a gauntlet of great two-way players that won it before him. Gilmore won and became the first player to score 100 points in a season while doing so. Fedorov is the only player to score 100 points twice and score 50 goals and win it in the same season. And then you got Jari Lehtinen, who's the only winger to win it more than once, and he won 3 of them. Like, Jari Lehtinen basically controlled the Selke in the late 90s, early 2000s. Steve Eiser won a Selke in 2000 over a point per game. I mean, just look at the great two-way centers that won it before he finally won. So I think in any other era, he probably would have had 4 or 5. That's just me. And you could say, oh, almost counts only in, hand grenades and horseshoes and everything like that. I get it, but you gotta put that into context as well. I think he gets in. Maybe Jimmy's right about him with the coaching. I mean, maybe that's it. I don't know, but again, he deserves to be in.
He's kind of the ultimate borderline case for me. I do believe I'd put him in. I was going to say, was there really a time where he was the best player on this team? But I give him the Selke credit, because, yes, he did win it and later in his career. And like you said, the gauntlet that he had to go through. Selke tends to be sort of like the Gold Gloves. Everybody just goes, all right, he's a good fielder, put him in. And then you get a Rafael Palmeiro in 1999 that had, 30, 40 games played in the field. They put him as a Gold Glover. So in this case, sometimes they were just a little bit lazy about who they choose. Brindamore is not one of those guys, but I think they should actually make a Gold Glove. It's not a Gold Glove, obviously. A Selke team. I think it's about time he expanded out. You mentioned just now Jari Lehtinen. It was a winger. He really does win that, and we've been advocates for the Rod Langway Award. So why not try to get something like that, like a Selke team? But getting back to Brindamore, the hard part for him is other than the Selke, there aren't many major awards he won. He was always kind of like the best supporting center on his team. I mean, behind Lindros and in Carolina, he was a star. But then again, he wasn't even the best offensive player when they won the cup, because that was Eric Stahl. So I'm a little bit conflicted in how I feel about this, but then I'd expand the Hall beyond where anybody would want me to expand it. So I would put it in. All right, Phil, the next name on the list is Julie Chu. Go on.
So She's one of the most decorated women's players of all time. I know her, but I didn't know her like resume until I really did some research on it. And holy shit, she deserves to be in. She was the all-time NCAA career leading scorer with 284 points until the record was broken in 2011. She had 107 points in 113 professional games and 87 points in 117 international games. She won basically what's the female Hobie Baker. It's the Patty Kazmaier Award in 2007. She's the second ice hockey player to be the Olympic flag bearer for Team USA at the Olympics. 26 total medals in international play, including 5 World Championship gold, 4 World Championship silver, 3 Olympic silver, an Olympic bronze, 4 Four Nations gold, 7 Four Nations silver. She was the leading scorer at the 2009 Women's World Championships with 5 goals and 10 points in 5 games, 2 Clarkson Cup CWHL titles, and she's the first player to win it with 2 different teams. 2-time CWHL All-Star, and then not only that, but she won the NCAA championship as an assistant coach with the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs. So there's zero reason why she shouldn't be in. She absolutely should be in. Complete lock. This is a lob for me. I'm sorry.
Jimmy?
It's a lock for me. I mean, what she did internationally for Team USA, I mean, look, she was a big reason why the United States has won the World Championship multiple times in the early 2010s, late 2000s. I mean, a couple of heartbreaking losses she was on with Team USA. Just a great player overall. Saw her play firsthand a couple of times. It's just unbelievable what she's done with that team. Surprised she's not in. I know every year, you only can limit it to a certain amount. To me, she's a lock. I mean, complete lock. Just not more that I can add. Phil went down the resume, so I can't even add more to that. But I think, to me, she's in.
Now, guys, clarify for me the rules on this, because they have the women's category, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But do they only put in one? Like every single year? Because I know Jennifer Botterill just went in.
Well, they went 2 women this year, but one was a builder because one was a coach.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the reason why I'd be conflicted about that, and by the way, I just briefly went over her resume just now. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit conflicted because there's another name that we got coming up, and we'll go to her next just to make it easier, and that's Megan Duggan, who was a star for Team USA for such a long time as well. Give me the case, Jim. Give me the case for Megan Duggan for next year over Julie Chu, if you can.
I mean, I don't know if I can. I mean, look, I know she works with New Jersey right now with the Devils, but again, she's won the World Championship. Obviously, she was a crucial piece to the Pyeongchang first gold medal for Team USA since 1998. The inaugural time women's ice hockey was put into the Olympics. She helped. She was won, I believe, 6 World Championships with Team USA. 7, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, I mean, playing career is unbelievable with Wisconsin. Look, she's won all the awards that there needs to be said when it comes to women's hockey, similar with Julie Chu. I think Julie probably goes in ahead of Megan Duggan. As much as I love Megan Duggan, I think I'm putting Julie Chu in before Megan Duggan. But if we could put 2 in, I would put 2 in at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And these would be the 2 I would put in at the same time. Though there are some others north of the border and internationally that I would put in as well.
All right. Phil, can you give a case for Megan Duggan over Julie Chu, or is it just?
I think Megan Duggan's probably a bigger name when it comes to women's hockey. Julie Chu was incredible. And Megan Duggan might have had one of the greatest seasons in NCAA history when she scored 39 goals and 87 points in only 41 games for Wisconsin and won the Patty Kazmaier in 2011. Mm-hmm. Again, another one that she won a Clarkson Cup, was a CWHL All-Star. And she was a big part of that 2018 team when they won gold. I think that there's cases for both of them one way or the other. But when I look at names and I look at recognizable big time names, no offense to Julie Chu,
No.
but I think that Megan Duggan is right near the top of names that everybody looks at in women's hockey. She's probably one of the most important names in U.S. women's hockey history, right up there with names like Cami Granado. For me, I think she's that important to women's hockey. So, yeah.
I'll throw another name in there for you, Phil, and Hillary Knight. And Hillary Knight's been a great ambassador for this game and done a lot for the game, both on the ice and off the ice. Sorry?
But she's still playing.
But she's still playing, yes.
Yeah, she's still playing.
I'm just talking about the recognizable name.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%. Hillary Knight, like Amanda Kessel, like all those, the current, like the former, like the transitional time, like we're going through with USA Hockey on the women's side. You can go back to like the 2018, 2022 team names on there as well, like the Amanda Kessels and people like that have been recognizable for what they've done for women's hockey. Kendall Coyne.
Yeah. So it's one of those things as somebody that's not, I'm very much a novice following women's hockey, but to learn it on the fly like this, I think you guys have made a good case to throw Julie Chu in first and then Megan Duggan, but we'll see more about those. Guys, you mind if we do a few rapid fire ones?
Yeah, let's do rapid fire. Let's do it.
Let's do some rapid fire ones. Let's get this moving along, but I want to move one name down the list a little bit. Let's get a couple of them up. Let's start with this one because we're going to talk about games played. Let's talk about a guy that retired recently in Patrick Marleau. Jim, in or out of the Hall of Fame?
In, but not first ballot.
Filk?
I'm gonna go with. I think he gets in. Should he be in? I don't think so. I get the international career is pretty good with 2 gold medals at the Olympics and a world championship gold, but he's just a compiler, and the points per game isn't high enough for me. Like he was, I don't think he was even one of the top maybe 40 best players of his time.
No, he's just him and Thornton are have just been interlinked for years.
Yeah.
I don't know. He never really did anything big. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lack of top 10 finishes and MVP finishes and everything like that. I don't see it. Sorry.
Yeah, and even in the international play, he's never been like the guy.
No.
Yeah.
So, because we're gonna have to go back to that sentence a lot because I got a name here at the end that he was the guy at one point internationally, but you lack those big finishes, those big seasons. He was never really the best player on his team, so I got to go out for him. I wouldn't put him in even eventually, and one guy that played a lot of international and also a guy that was a Stanley Cup winner. Vincent Damphousse. Filk, in or out?
Out. Another one where, I mean, the numbers aren't standout enough for me with Damphousse. I think that he was a very good and one of the most underrated players of all time, but where are the top, never finished in top 10 in scoring. He has 0 international resume, so he was never really good enough to make those, best of best teams. Provided that they didn't send NHLers to the Olympics for most of that time. But even when they did start sending them, he wasn't really a thought for those teams. So, but 42nd assists all time is pretty nice. And 51st in points, again, pretty good. But well under a point per game player for his career. And no individual awards, so no for me.
All right. And Jim, what do you think? In or out?
I love Vinny Damphousse, but he's not getting in the Hockey Hall of Fame. He's just not.
Yeah, I don't think so. Again, real good player, a real pest to play against, but you never looked at him and said, this guy is among the greatest ever to play.
No. He was a good player on the 93 Canadian team that won the Stanley Cup, but like he was a clutch goal scorer for them, don't get me wrong, but like outside of that, like He's like Phil said, he's underrated, but it's okay. If we had to make a Hall very good, he's in there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go right to the next one. Bill, quick. Jim, this goes to you. This one. Sergei Gonchar.
Man, good player. Good defenseman. Really integral part of the Penguins when they won the Cup. Ottawa Senator too. Came up. Helped that young team come up. Just not sure he's getting in, unfortunately. He's a good player, but again, how many guys we putting into the Hall of Fame, right? Like, again, he's played internationally, won some medals. That's all well and good for Russia. Again, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he was a Stanley Cup winner, though. Phil, are you putting Gonchar in?
I would. I'm not sure if he does, though. I'm going to lean towards no. He's 19th all-time in goals, 21st in assists, 18th in points for defensemen. Third all-time in points by European defensemen. The only defender to outscore him in his era was Nick Lidstrom. And he's got an okay international resume. 4 top 5 finishes in Norris Trophy voting. And it's tough because I do think that if Nick Lidstrom wasn't there, maybe he wins one. He's probably one of the top 5 best Russian-born defenders, maybe even 3 after Zubov and Fetisov, I would say. But just no individual awards, not known for his great defensive play, and the international resume is just is it good enough? I think he doesn't get it. But yeah, I do think that there is a case for him. I personally would, but I don't think he gets it.
Yeah, I think his resume is a little bit weak. Like the player, again, really good. I just don't know if it's the Hall of Fame for him. And again, we're going to go back to expanding out the international stuff. But let's go to a guy well known for years, well liked by a lot of people for years, Theo Fleury. Phil, in or out?
I think he eventually gets in. I do think that there's a hell of a resume for this guy. He's 63rd all-time with goals, 455, 87th in assists, 633, 1,088 points, which is 71st. 79 points in 77 career playoff games, over a point per game. World Junior Gold medalist in 88, 91 Canada Cup, and silver medals to the Worlds. Silver medal at World Cup of Hockey, 2002 Olympic gold. He was one of the better players of his era. And I think a big thing with Fleury is that he helped spawn a generation of smaller players and kind of broke that archetype of you need to have size to play in the NHL. No, Theo was really good. I would personally put him in, and I do think he eventually gets in, but there is a chance that he doesn't. But I think he should absolutely be in.
Jim?
He should be in. Again, he's another guy that's won the triple gold, right? Everybody forgets he was on that 89 Calgary Flames team that won the Stanley Cup. He was an integral part of that team. Really good player. Again, a great point by Phil that, he dawned and spawned the age of that small forward, right? And what he could do. Again, is there something being held against him? I'm not in the room. I don't know what the conversations are. I don't know. Again, names have to be brought up and have to be voted on. To me, he should be in. I don't know if he gets in this upcoming year, but I hope he gets in. And I think he eventually will get in, but it's going to be a little bit of a wait.
My gut would put him in.
Yeah.
My gut would put him in. What I think was going to work against him and maybe even for him. I don't know which one it is his time in New York. He was on a different career trajectory, came to the Rangers, had an awful first season. Then has that great second year where he scores 74 points in 62 games. And if I recall correctly, he was the NHL leader at that time, but he was also battling demons.
Yeah.
And we know he was battling demons. And this is also where I guess the character part could come into it, because you could say he's been a great ambassador for mental health and all these other all the history that went on with him. Is just the nicest way that I could put it. And I say nicest, I mean, just kind of leaving it open. Just everybody, you can Google it and talk about it. He went through some issues, and I think I put him in for that. Like he's been outspoken about everything. And again, I just hope he's doing better than what he was back when he was a New York Ranger, back in those days.
And he is. He is.
Yeah, he definitely is. Yeah.
And he's helped so many people, including people with his book. There's a great story that he has on Instagram about that. Check it on out, guys. The next one up, Pekka Rinne. And Jim, what do you think? Pekka Rinne?
Nope. I don't even think he gets in. I don't even think he's going to get consideration. I know he's a good goaltender for the Nashville Predators. Know what he's done internationally. In the biggest games, he disappeared. A lot of goaltenders ahead of him on my list. A lot of goalies ahead of him on my list. The guy who played in New York should be in before him. Nope. And there's another goalie on this list that probably gets in on the first ballot and probably gets in before him too.
Yeah, and I think that's going to happen. And I also I got some issues with that as well. But Filk, Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, he absolutely deserves to be in, and I think he eventually will get in. Looking at his all-time numbers, he's 21st in wins, 20th in shutouts, 21st in goals against, and 14th in save percentage. And this is in a minimum of 200 games played. So with that, it probably is going to knock out some guys from that list too. So he probably even higher. 243 goals against, 917 save percentage, 369 wins. He won a Vezina trophy. He's led the NHL in shutout twice, led the NHL in shots against and saves once, 830 win seasons, 340 win seasons. And aside from his Vezina win, 3 other Vezina finalist finishes. The international resume is what might hold him back a little bit, but he's easily a top 3 to 5 goalie of his generation. So he absolutely deserves it, if you ask me.
I got to say, both of you guys made the strongest case. Jim, I was right there with you. The entire way on this. I'm like, no way, Pekka Rinne, he's not even – I'd make the argument he's not even a top 5 goaltender of his generation. Phil, looking at those stats and also hearing you say, and as I was looking at him, that really makes it harder for me to say no. I am still going to go out on Pekka Rinne.
Okay.
Let's go to a guy that scored 60 goals in a season, Bernie Nichols. A former Ranger and a former Devil. Phil?
He scored 70 one year, too.
It was 70 and 150 in 1988-89, which was a Wayne Gretzky's first year with the Kings.
Yeah.
He's top 60 in goals, assists, and points. He's 57th in goals, 54th in assists, 50th in points, 9 point per game seasons, 6 of 80, 5 of 90, and 3 100-point seasons. He's one of only 8 players to have a 70-goal season, one of 6 to record 150, and he's one of 4 to have a 70-goal, 150-point season. So the only thing is no individual awards, no Stanley Cup, only 2 top 10 finishes of scoring, never received a Hart Trophy vote, and his international resume is just not there. It's only 1 silver medal at the Worlds in '85. So, no for me on Bernie Nichols, but he's one of the biggest Hall of Very Good cases that I can come across.
Jim?
Yeah, I mean, to add to that, he's only one of 18 players with 1,000 points not inducted in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So, I mean, yeah, Hall of Very Good. Love Bernie Nichols. Think he's a great guy. Met him several times. I mean, again, when you put up 70 goals in a season, you're a really, really good hockey player. Going to be interesting to see what they do, but I don't think he gets in.
Yeah, my first instinct is to say no. And my second instinct is to say no. Then it's, hey, why don't you look up that stat line? 475 goals, 734 assists, 1,209 points in 1,127 games. Now, if you look, though, often moved, especially in the 90s, ever since his trade from LA to the Rangers. He was then moved within 3 years to Edmonton. That was in the Mark Messier trade. He was then moved from Edmonton to New Jersey, nearly won a Stanley Cup with them. Sorry, Jim. And he'd win it the year. The Devils would win it the year after Bernie Nichols left. He would go to Chicago. And like a lot of these numbers after leaving the Rangers are very pedestrian numbers. And so he really front loaded his career. And again, I hear Bernie Nichols is a great guy. I'd love to have him on the show. So, but yeah, he's a Hall of very good. You just that monster year of 88, 89. That's just, you go from a guy that scored 100 points a season and 112 the next year and 70 goals, 80 assists. Wow. But also all that, still a minus 39. And I know people want to say, oh, plus minus doesn't mean anything. Still means a little bit of something.
Yeah, I would say one just quickly to that. When you score over 1,200 points and you're a minus player, like, that's not good.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, that means you did most of your damage on the power play. And yeah. Or you just weren't any good defensively. So that's the other thing. Let's talk about a guy that nearly went number 1 in the draft, and instead he went to the Ottawa Senators at number 2 in his draft year. Jason Spezza. Filk, in or out?
Out. I just don't think there's enough for him. He's a good player. 363 goals, 632 assists, 995 points. He's 89th in assists and 103rd in points. So he's like right outside the top 100 in points. But only 4 real great seasons. He's got a World Championships gold and silvers, and he won a Spengler Cup. But like, the international resume is strong, but I don't think it's strong enough to overcome the fact that he just doesn't have really anything too special at the NHL level. No individual awards, under career point per game player, no Stanley Cup, no Olympic gold. Just not good enough. It just, again, very good player, but just not good enough.
Jim?
Yeah, not a good enough player. I mean, he was the face of the Ottawa Senators for a while. He came in, I believe, 2003 during the playoffs against the Devils. Played really good. Was part of that top line with Danny Heatley. Yeah.
Heatley and Alfredson.
Yeah, and Spezza in 2007, where they went to the Cup final and steamrolled pretty much steamrolled everybody in the Eastern Conference up until when they got steamrolled by the Ducks. Yeah, I mean, just again, he's a good player, but he's not Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I got to go with that one as well. Good player, very good player. I take him on my team any day of the week. But you look at that, his best year was 2011, 2012, and he finished 6th in Hart Trophy voting behind Jonathan Quick, Claude Giroux, Henrik Lundqvist, Steven Stamkos, and Evgeny Malkin. To put this in perspective, do you know who finished 8th? Erik Karlsson that year. And you know my saying, sometimes if you got 2 MVPs, you don't have they should really not be on the same team. But in this particular case, Spezza was always a really good player, not necessarily a Hall of Famer. Does this guy fit into that? Jim, going over to you. Ryan Getzlaf.
Man, Getzlaf. See, this is a difficult one for me because, look, Getzlaf, very, very compelling resume when you look at it, right? I mean, very compelling. And he was one of those guys, if you look early on with Getzlaf, he was one of those guys that we looked at when he got the big pay raises in Anaheim coming out of the salary cap era with the Ducks. You were like, oh, man, what are these guys? Why are these guys getting paid so much money? But if you look at it, he was the face of the Ducks for a while and won a Stanley Cup. He's done well internationally obviously with Canada. He's won World Junior, won a World Olympic gold, 2 Olympic gold medals, a World Cup Hockey Championship. So he's done it internationally. Again, face of a franchise, 1,000 points. But if you break down those 1,000 points, most of them are assists. He's got 737 assists, 282 goals, played 1,100 games. I think what's going to get Getzlaf in is his international resume and the fact that he won the Stanley Cup. It's not going to be what he did because he had a nice long career in Anaheim. Don't get me wrong, he did. Him and Corey Perry are going to be tied forever. But Getzlaf's getting in because of what he did for Team Canada.
Phil?
It's basically everything Jim said. I mean, it's he had 6 point per game seasons, only 380 point seasons at the NHL level, and he was the runner-up for the Hart in 2014. Sidney Crosby won it, but just 2-time Olympic gold medalist, and he was a big factor on both of those teams. So it's not like he wasn't the guy, but he was one of the guys. He just came short of being a triple gold member with the World Championship team in 2008. He won silver with Canada that year. So that would have been his triple gold glove, but 850 assist seasons. He's one of the better playmakers of his time. He's 53rd all-time in assists, 96 in points. So, yeah, I think he eventually gets in. I think the international is really what does it.
The international is what's going to put him in. I do put him in, and he barely makes it, but I'd put him in. There's 3 guys I would name for the Miami Ducks. Miami Ducks. Oh, Jesus. Anaheim Ducks.
It's a Monday, baby.
Because I wanted to say Mighty Ducks. I got stuck. I got stuck in the middle of it. Mighty Ducks, Miami Ducks. Anyway, the Anaheim Ducks. The 3 people you can always name for that franchise. Solani, Correa, in no particular order. The third one, it would be Ryan Getzlaf. He represented the organization and Team Canada and the NHL very well throughout his time. You're still thinking Miami Ducks, aren't you?
I'm just looking at the chat. It says Miami Ducks.
Yeah. See, this is why I don't look at the chat.
I'm on it right now.
But by the way, just to mention this with Ryan Getzlaf. Ryan Getzlaf played 14 or more games in the playoffs 5 times. Or 4 times. So he's went to the conference finals at least 4 times in his career. And he's had a 17-point season, an 18-point postseason, a 15-point postseason in 12 games, a 20-point postseason where he led the NHL in assists in that year. That was 2015. And 2017 when they went to the conference finals and lost to the Nashville Predators that year. Let's go to this one. Tim Thomas. Phil, take it away.
Very good during his very brief peak. He's a 2-time Vezina winner, a Conn Smythe winner, and the problem is he just didn't play enough games. He's 91st in wins, 72nd in shutouts, but in minimum 200 games played, he's tied for 40th in goals against and 5th in save percentage. So he also won a Jennings Trophy in 2009. Olympic silver medalist in 2010, but he was the backup behind Ryan Miller, who won tournament MVP. But it's just there's not enough. It's 6 seasons you could really look at his career at, and that's it. He came up too late, but I got to tell you, he is one of the best stories you will ever see. Him and Marty St. Louis were teammates for 4 years at the University of Vermont, and they became 2 of the better players of their time. So Thomas, it's not enough on there. Just not enough. Sorry.
Jimmy?
Yeah, it's not enough for me. I mean, he had a great 2011, and if it wasn't for the first round against the Montreal Canadiens that year, I mean, they may not even get out of it. And, we're talking about a complete dismantling of that Bruins team. He was a big reason why they won. He was a big reason, again, down 3-2, down 2-0. He came up with the big saves. Vancouver just couldn't win on the road in 2011 in the final. And they probably made a poor choice going to Roberto Luongo in Game 6. I would have started Corey Schneider the hometown kid there. I keep saying it. I think they would have won the Stanley Cup. You just needed a different vibe that year. Because the Luongo had just gotten pulled twice and got killed both in games 3 and 4. But again, Thomas just not enough. I don't think he gets in because Cujo should be in. Mike Vernon got in. Mike Richter should be in. There's a couple of guys. Carey Price is going to get in before him. Tuukka Rask, you could make an argument, it could get in before Tim Thomas. To me, yeah, he's a good goaltender. Not enough. UVM, yeah, him, Patrick Sharp, all those guys, what they did in Vermont. But, yeah, just not enough for me on the NHL level.
Okay, because it's funny that you say that, because then Tuukka Rask is he a Hall of Famer?
I'm probably putting him in over Tim Thomas. I'm going to be honest. He was the starting goaltender in 2013. He was there 2019. He gets a bad rap in Boston. But, look, again, I don't know. Again, I'm not putting him in ahead of Mike Richter and or Curtis Joseph because I think Cujo's resume speaks for itself. I think Cujo's resume is better than Tuukka Rask's resume. Rask is going to get killed for what happened in 2013 and 2019. But, 2019 Game 7, if it wasn't for Jordan Binnington in the first 10 minutes of the hockey game, the Boston Bruins are winning their second Stanley Cup. And the St. Louis Blues don't even have a Stanley Cup again. So, and then the air just went out of the building when they scored those 2 goals. Rask, what he did for Finland, what he's done for the Boston Bruins, taking over for Tim Thomas, it doesn't get the respect that he deserves in Boston. A lot of people just wanted to run him out of town. I know how it ended, but I would put Rask in over Thomas. I would. Even though Thomas won the Stanley Cup, I like Tuukka Rask a little bit better.
Phil, do you agree with that one?
Yeah, I don't think I'm putting Thomas or Rask in. He's 37th all time in wins, 27th in shutouts, 12th in goals against, and 3rd in save percentage all time, which is crazy to think about. But a 6-season peak as a starter, which is not long enough because you got to remember Thomas was there. And he was trying to wrestle that net from Thomas, but couldn't because Thomas was really good. I mean, and outside of his Vezina win, he has only 2 other top 5 Vezina trophy finishes, including 1 Vezina finalist finish. His international resume is really not good. He's got an Olympic bronze in 2014 and a World Junior bronze in 2006. You're actually, when we get to Mike Richter, you might be surprised at what I'm going to say about him. But
no problem. We'll get to him later.
Yeah, but he's a Vezina trophy winner, and he had a really good Vezina year, and he won a Jennings in 2019-20, but I just don't think there's enough there. I just think he falls just short.
I think he falls just short. I never made my comment on Tim Thomas, which I guess he's almost like, you can compare him to almost like, Terrell Davis had a career-ending injury. Thomas really didn't have a career-ending injury.
He just went away.
He just went away for a year, and then
the whole Islanders thing. He didn't want to play for the Islanders.
And didn't want to play for the Islanders. He got waived. Went to the Islanders. Then he went to Florida and Dallas, and you kind of forgot about him. But that 6-year peak with Tim Thomas, he was up there. He was amazing, but he did all that in his 30s. In his early 30s is really when he started his career. He was one of the oldest players to really now did he get Rookie of the Year consideration that year? No, he didn't.
No, he fell just short, I believe.
Yeah, he was 31. He didn't get any consideration for that for 38 games played. And really, he didn't because he was 12, 13, and 10 that year with the Bruins. But he really developed into a really good goaltender. Now, he did win with Thomas. He did win the Vezina and the Stanley Cup in the same season, which was a rarity after the lockout.
And the Conn Smythe.
Yeah. So he's got all 3. Now, going to Tuukka Rask, you could argue might have had the better career as a whole, but yeah, the resume falls short even internationally. And I agree with you, Phil. He had the Vezina Trophy season. The other seasons, he had like 2 good seasons. He was just a good goalie.
Yeah.
So
very good, not great. outside of his.
I got a lot of unfair slack from people in Boston.
Yeah,
Yeah,
great guy. Absolutely
a
love
lot of
Filkowski.
unfair slack. I'll say just because of the team underperforming and probably winning when they should have and didn't.
Mm.
Although,
But
if you
that's
want,
not
just
all
look
on
at
him.
the Tuukka Rask outburst after the shootout loss that he had. I think it was at Providence, where he just went absolutely
He went
ballistic.
Yeah.
Let's go to a guy that was clutch and has a great last name, Justin Williams. Jim, take it away.
I mean, look, Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7, right? Like, he's won with the Kings. He was on the Carolina Hurricanes team in 06. It was a young Justin Williams that was there. Look.
Well, Younger was in Philadelphia when he was there.
Younger too, right? So I mean, look, he's a good player, good playoff performer for many years in the league. He even was doing it in Washington at the tail end of his career. But if you look at his numbers, 700, he finished with what? 797 points, 320 goals, right? He's got internationally, he's got 2 World Cups, World Championships. Okay, that's great. A couple of All-Stars, won 3 Stanley Cups, Conn Smythe. Is that enough to get you into the Hall of Fame? No. Like him, Hall of Very Good, not a Hall of Famer.
Phil?
I don't even know if this is a Hall of Very Good player. And
Hall of Clutch player, then? Hall of Clutch player?
He's one of the best clutch players ever, like, no doubt. Like, I do think he gets a little overrated because of his Game 7 numbers. He's the all-time leader in goals, tied with Glenn Anderson, with 7 in 9 Game 7s, with an 8-1 record. And he has the most points, 15, in 9 Game 7s. So, I mean, like, is he clutch? Yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't mean that you're a Hall of Famer or anywhere close to it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It just 0.63 points per game for his career. No individual regular season awards. He never even got a vote for an individual award. He's nowhere near the top of his generation in terms of best players. Like, who honestly put Justin Williams in their top, I don't know, 30 or 40 players in the NHL in any year? And that, I'm talking including defenders and goalies. Like, where is he in that regard? But good player. I can't even put him in the Hall of Very Good. Like, do you honestly put him on the same level as a Patrick Elias, an Eric Stahl, a Ryan Getzlaff, a Phil Kessel, a Vincent Danfus, or a Bernie Nichols?
No.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to trash the guy, but this was odd to see him on the ballot.
He's good. He's a good player.
Good player. Like, who wouldn't love to have him on their team? But, like, I'm sorry. I think if we start considering guys like this, then the ballot just gets flooded with people where you're just like, again, good player. Who wouldn't love to have had him on his team? But sorry, no.
Justin Williams is one of the most clutch players of all time. No. Not even close.
Nope.
I think it was, what was the numbers again? 1,200 career games played and 1,264 and 800 points. No, absolutely not. Now, did he play great for the Kings and ruin 2014 from my life? Sure, because after all, rooting for the New York Rangers and hearing Williams scores and hating that moment and my own last name, that's where part of the problem is. One day we'll have a Biringer playing against the Devils and a Filkowski against the Rangers.
Never going to happen. Never going to happen.
Maybe one day.
Never going to happen.
But Justin Williams, his footnote in history is his Game 7s, and he's got one of 3 last names that match Super Bowl winning MVPs. I'll let you guys think of the other 2 in a moment. Doug Williams and Justin Williams, yeah. All right. You can take your time on it if you want. Let's go to the guy that was the winningest American goalie of all time, Ryan Miller. Phil, start that one off.
Oh, this is another one where you just wonder I teetered on it. Like I think that he was great at his peak. I mean, 16th in wins all time with 391, 41st in shutouts with 44, a 264 goals against, and then a 914 save percentage, which is 29th. He retired as the winningest American-born goalie, and that obviously passed by Jonathan Quick. Won the 2009-2010 Vezina Trophy win with 41 wins, 18 losses, and 8 overtime loss shootouts. 222 goals against and a 929 save percentage that year. He won the Olympic silver medal in 2010, but he won tournament MVP. He went 5-0-1 with a 135 goals against and a 946 save percentage, which are both records for Team USA. 731 seasons, 241 seasons, but the outside of that 7-year peak, the numbers aren't all that great. Like there was a hard fall off after that when that trade happened to St. Louis. I think he eventually gets in. I don't think he's a first ballot guy, but I do think that he eventually gets in. It's just I wonder if people look at the numbers outside the peak and are just like, what happened to him? But again, he was a guest on our show. Very nice guy.
Incredibly nice.
Super, super nice. And I'm not trying to like drag him down or anything like that, but I do think that sometimes in with the Hall of Fame voting, you got to look at like longevity and peaks. And I think his 7-year peak is great. I wonder if he loses votes because of the way his career kind of went downhill afterward.
Yeah, Jim, you thinking the same thing there?
Yeah, I think he'll eventually get him, but like I've said before, there's guys ahead of him. Cujo, to me, I think you gotta if you're gonna put Ryan Miller in, you're gonna put Cujo in. I mean, like we said, Roberto Luongo's in, Cujo's got to be in, Carey Price will get in, guys like that. Look, I mean, he was good in Vancouver, he's good in Anaheim. I know he became a tandem guy later on in his life. I mean, what he did at Michigan State, when Hobie Baker, again, he put Team USA on his back in 2010. I mean, if it's not for his goaltending, Canada, that game doesn't even go to overtime. And I know the Crosby goal gets in, and everybody's like, how does that one go in? And he stays like every other one. But, I mean, he played really well. I think eventually he'll get in, but not right away.
This is the problem with the word eventually, because when you say eventually, then you have another player that is going to be worthy of it the next year.
Right.
This is why I have a problem with sometimes first ballot versus eventually. Ryan Miller, you look at his career up until the trade to St. Louis, and then it was musical chairs after that, because I can't help but to point out, first off, let's start with the beginning of his career. I'm trying to be fast on this, guys. Sorry. You look at the beginning of his career. He was 8th in Calder Trophy voting in the most stacked rookie class of all time.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
It was the first year out of a lockout, too. I mean, that was the other thing, too.
Something that still bewilders me is Henrik Lundqvist was 9th in Hart Trophy voting, but 4th in Rookie of the Year voting.
And he was a Vezina finalist.
He was a Vezina
finalist.
So, I mean, as much as I agree, I'd go Ovechkin and Crosby 1 and 2, like the way they did. That's where I'm lost how Dion Phaneuf snuck in at number 3. But we forget how good Dion Phaneuf was.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I think even at the time I was like, how is Lundqvist not on the Rookie of the Year ballot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Dion. Don't get me wrong. I love Dion, but like
Dion had a great year. I mean, 20 goals and 40 points, but like,
dude, when you're up for the Hart, finished 4th. You said 4th in the Hart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was 4th in Hart, and he was
4th in Calder, 9th in Hart.
Okay, but still, he was a Vezina Trophy finalist.
Yeah,
as a rookie, and without him, they don't get anywhere because. If anyone remembers the start of that season in Kevin Weeks and the controversy about him and what happened with the papers and what he said in the papers and just his inconsistency, the Rangers wouldn't have made the playoffs with Kevin Weeks starting. And I think Weeks might even he might even admit that if you.
I think he would. I think you got him a little bit. I think he would.
But getting back to Brian Miller for a minute, he led them to the President's Trophy in 2007 in Buffalo. They were incredible in those years that he was the goaltender there. 2010 to 2009, 2010. You could argue he had one of the best goaltending seasons ever if you compare his 41-18-8 record, winning the Vezina, and winning tournament MVP in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Even though he did win gold, didn't win a playoff series that year, that's still incredible. And his goals saved above expected that year. Take what you will on that stat, but is 36.2. Yikes. Yeah. And then, but then Buffalo goes on the decline. He gets moved to St. Louis in 2014, doesn't stay there, moves on from St. Louis. And, he turns in decent seasons in Vancouver, but it's Vancouver wasn't that great of a team at the time. Then goes to Anaheim. They're obviously rebuilding. He's their backup over there. I think that does kill his votes, but if possible, I would try to get him in there because of his international resume. We're going to go back to another guy on that later. But a case in point of you say eventually he gets in. Well, you don't know that because how is Curtis Joseph not in the Hall of Fame, Jim?
That one.
I don't get this.
No, I don't get Cujo, man. I really don't get. There's a lot of guys. Like, you talk to a lot of guys there. Like, how is Curtis Joseph not in the Hockey Hall of Fame? Like, I just don't get it. Like, to me, I mean, Cujo was a man. I mean, look, I know he was frustrated in 2002 when he lost his starting job to Marty Brodeur at the Olympics. I know, like, that's been well documented. He was not happy after the first game, and Brodeur kind of, like, took the title from him. He's part of, Spangler Cup, was part of the 96 World Cup of Hockey team. But, I mean, you can't deny what this guy did. I mean, playing at University of Wisconsin, what he did for St. Louis Blues.
He followed up Mike Richter at University of Wisconsin as well.
Yeah, and he was there with Grant Fuhrer, and then he went to the Edmonton Oilers. And without Curtis Joseph in 97, the Edmonton Oilers don't beat the Dallas Stars. Like, I mean, Curtis Joseph stood on his head in that series. Then he took the Maple Leafs to the conference final in 2002 as a goaltender. Like, I mean,
99.
99, yeah. So 99, he was there through 2002. Eddie Belfour followed him up there as well. I mean, and look, he was on that Stanley Cup team with Dominik Hasek with the Red Wings. So, I mean,
no, he wasn't on that team.
No, he wasn't. Okay.
No,
he followed up Dominik Hasek.
Retired after that season, and they brought him in as a free agent to replace Hasek.
Okay, but
he ended up losing to Diggy in the first round.
Yeah, but still, I mean, Cujo was still really good at that time with Detroit. I mean, still one of the best goalies I've seen play. And even when he came back to Toronto, he was still amazing with that team. So I still don't understand why he isn't in. I mean, career save percentage a little over 900, 2.79 goals against. There's some guys that are
scoring error though. Part of
right,
that.
but also to me, like what he did as a goaltender in the National Hockey League, that longevity. I'm putting Curtis Joseph in the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Filk?
This should be a no-brainer. I don't know why he's not in. I
don't know who
would you say it's a layup, Filk?
This should be a layup. This should be he should be in. He retired 4th all-time in wins. He's now 7th. He led the NHL in shots against twice, saves 3 times. He led the NHL in save percentage in 93 with a 911 save percentage, which was insane back then in that season. Like, if you look at the scoring league-wide, it's one of the highest offensive seasons of all time. And he had a 911 save percentage when guys were well below 900. He had 5 top 5 finishes in Vezina voting. And he was a 3-time finalist. And 2 of the goalies he lost to, Eddie Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Like, he's not losing these to scrubs. He's not losing it to Jim Carrey, who was a 2-year wonder. He was probably the 5th best goalie in the greatest generation of goaltending we've ever seen. He was behind only Hasek, Waugh, Belfour, and Brodeur. Those are to me the 4 greatest goalies ever.
Mm-hmm.
And Joseph was the 5th best goalie in that generation. Like, you could talk about Vernon and his 2 cups and his Conn Smythe. Joseph year to year was way better.
Oh,
than
Curtis
Vernon.
Joseph. Oh, Curtis Joseph was way better.
Way better than Vernon, Osgood. He played on worse teams and carried those teams. Jimmy before 97. Edmonton doesn't beat Dallas without Joseph.
No.
They don't. They just don't. He was unbelievable. That's one of the best series I've ever seen from a goaltender.
He stole 3 of those games.
Absolutely stole them.
Stole them.
Yeah, I just think that if he played on better teams, he would have had, I say, at least 2 Stanley Cups and 2 Vezina trophies.
He ran into New Jersey twice in the playoffs.
That too. I mean, but it's just he didn't
and
really.
And then he ran into the Dominator in #99.
Yeah. He runs into Hasek in '99. He runs into peak Hasek.
Yeah,
like he ran into peak. Hasek from '97 to 2001.
Best goalie. Best goalie. I can't even put Brodeur ahead of him.
Hasek won 6 Vezinas and 2 Hart trophies from 94 to 01. That's the best run you're ever going to see.
Ridiculous.
And the funny thing is, with Cujo, I'm going to quote for you, Phil, and Jim, obviously, as well, because you're both listening. Cujo's a guy that, like, saves above expected. A goal saved above expected, I should say. That was tailor-made for him. And in 92-93, he was hung out to dry more often from that St. Louis defense. He had a 57.4 saves above expected. I mean, and you look at this guy in his career, a total of 154.8 is what he had for his career. But he was a minus in a lot of seasons at the end. I mean, this is a guy that he was technically sound. His athleticism was so good. Like, how do you over 400 wins pre-lockout? How do you keep this guy out of the Hall of Fame?
You don't.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, the guy had 400 wins before the advent of the shootouts, which gave and this is something I've talked about with Marty Brodeur. How much less wins would he have had the shootout not come into place?
Or Marc-Andre Fleury.
There'd be more ties, I think, because Brodeur was just that damn good. But
yeah, I mean, he was already starting to rack up the 40-win seasons before the.
No, I know, but I'm just saying. I think.
No, I agree with you because how many ties did Patrick Waugh end up having in his career?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he missed the shootout. Cujo missed the shootout.
And
Curtis
Cujo
Joseph.
was there. Curtis Joseph, he played in a shootout era.
Yeah,
he'd have 525 wins, maybe.
Yeah,
which I could argue the same thing about Mike Richter later on this list that I threw him on there. But I mean, he's one of those guys that his athleticism carried him so well throughout his career, and then just at the end, it kind of went away. But let's go to another name that's on this list that did. He had a great career as well, even post lockout. But look at what he did pre lockout. Keith Tkachuk.
Man, this is a tough one for me. He's 35th all time in goals, 75th in points, 538 goals, 1,065 points, and American-born ranks. And this doesn't include Brett Hull for anybody who stumbles across American ranks and sees Brett Hull at the top. But he's second in goals and 6th in points by American-born players. 9 30-goal seasons, 240 and 250, and he was the first American-born to lead the NHL in goals in 96-97. He's
and
one
the
of
first to have 3 consecutive 50-goal seasons, right?
Yep.
No, John LeClaire is the only. The only
oh,
American
that's right.
That.
Damn it.
It was LeClaire, 96, 97.
I mixed the names because, again, the guy said he thought Barry Monroe said that he thought LeClaire. he was shocked it was Leclerc. I thought Kachuk was going to beat him. Go ahead. Sorry.
So Kachuk is only one of 5 players all time with 500 plus goals and 2,000 plus penalty minutes. Can you guys name the other 4?
All right. Give me the parameters again.
Actually, 2 of them played for Jimmy's Devils.
Wait,
All
what
right.
was
So
the
it was
question again?
500 goals.
500 goals and 2,000 career penalty minutes.
Wow.
Actually, that should be a giveaway to 2 of them.
Well, you said 2 of them. I got to go. Did he get there, Claude Lemieux?
No,
No,
not even close.
No.
Not even close. No.
Doug Gilmore.
500
no.
goals, 2,000
No.
penalty minutes. Billy Guerin get
I could say something else, but this would be a dead giveaway if I
Yeah,
said
don't
this.
give it away. I mean,
It's not Stevens because he didn't get close to that.
no. Billy Guerin didn't get the 500 goals, right?
No. Not a bad guess, but no.
No.
You're going to kick yourselves with these 2.
Yeah, probably. I'll wait for Jimmy.
Trying to think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just looked at the chat. That one's obvious.
Yep.
Yep.
The other one's kind of eluding me.
Oh, that
The
was
other
early
one-
on it. That was early in his career, though.
Oh, both of them were both Rangers and Devils.
Ooh.
Really? Okay, now that changed me. Oh, Jaromir Jagr.
No.
Yager didn't
No?
have.
No.
I figured he
Jágr
played
didn't have-
for 20 years.
Yeah, but he didn't have 2,000 penalty minutes.
No.
Still would have to accomplish Rangers
No.
and Devils.
Wait a minute. Oh, I know one of them. For Beek.
That's the other one.
Oh, that's the one that's
88,
tricky. All right.
88. You have to go all the way back. You have to go back to early Devils.
Yeah.
The little
Packard
ball of
was
hate.
The other one.
Yeah.
And then there are 2 other players that are very obvious. Very obvious players. That if you don't get this, I don't even know what I'm
What is it? Well, I mean, Gordie Howe's probably on this list.
Gordie Howe is one of them.
Yeah, I would say I would be like,
And the other one's very
Ross
obvious.
Mazzito.
No.
No?
The other
No.
one's very obvious.
come on. I think I have
500
an idea.
goals. And come on.
Mess.
Oh, it's Messier.
Yeah.
Mess.
Yeah.
See, that's why it happens. You overthink it. You just overthink
Yeah.
it. And
So,
that's what
I mean,
happens.
for me, Keith Kachuk, it just
If you're on a
Very-
list with those guys, yeah, I mean,
very, very rare player. The only problem is points per game is under a point per game, but I'm willing to give him a pass because his peak was right in the middle of the dead puck era. So
Well,
you got to. I think with him you have to adjust, but his international resume is not crazy strong,
no, but
and no individual
96,
awards,
96 World Cup of Hockey.
which is big because
Which is
that
huge.
spawned a generation of American-born players. Like
That's-
I don't think you have your Austin Matthews
No.
or your Jack Hughes or all
No.
those guys without Keith Kachuk.
96 was so huge with
Well,
that team.
obviously, that's the second biggest team after
80.
98.
Yeah,
Sorry, not 98. 1980. I mean, yeah. But, I mean, people forget how great the 2002 gold medal game was with the
Well,
amount
I mean,
of Hall of Fame.
the 2002 team, USA hockey team that finished second was really, really good.
yeah, and they
I'll
they
argue
faced
that's one of the
Hall
best
Fame.
Olympic teams not to win gold.
I mean, they faced the Hall of Fame lineup in Canada. I mean, like look at the Hall of Famers. on that team.
Richter stood on his head in that fucking game. Whoops, sorry.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, he
God,
did.
right. We've
He
been
did.
dropping that bomb for years.
But I mean, Mario, Sakic, Yzerman, McGinley, Correa, Pronger,
Niedermeyer.
Brodeur, and Joseph in net. I mean,
I think
there's
Niedermeyer
other-
was on that team.
Niedermeyer
Phil-
was on that team.
Phil, look at the American side. There were no slouches there. Chelios, Leach, Madonna, Kachuk, Leclerc, Roenick.
I think Garen was on that team.
Garrett was on that team as well. Doug
was
Waite
Pete
was a
Biringer,
third line
too.
center.
Yeah.
Housley.
Doug Waite. I mean,
Good squad. Good squad.
Those are great squads. So
Yeah, so we would all put Keith Kachuk in, right?
I would put him in.
I would have this, but Phil, this is where when we talk about international resumes, while the international resume may not be there and it might hurt some Canadian players because you might be able to go, well, the Canadian guys, everybody's triple gold. I mean, when it comes to that, Keith Kachuk being the third highest scoring American goal scorer ever. Sorry, second American born.
Yeah, American born.
If you want to say it like that, because it goes Madonna, then him. I think that does help his case. I don't know if Patrick Kane gets to Keith Kachuk at 538 now. So we're still waiting to see whether Austin Matthews could do that. Maybe if he leaves and goes to Vegas.
I would put him in because I just think that he's a very rare player.
Yeah.
Like when you talk about all-time power forwards, he's top 5 for sure for me. I don't think there's enough individual awards, and I think the international resume is good, but I don't know if that puts him over the top. He was also a 5-time NHL All-Star, which, I mean, I think that'll factor into a point.
Because the All-Star game meant something back then.
Back then, yeah, it did. Like now, I just don't think it
doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter now.
Also, by the way, to add on to that, I had it. He was the last guy to lead the league in goals before the Rocket was handed out, correct?
No.
Right.
That was Leclerc and Bondra, I believe, in 98. It might have been Bondra alone, but Bondra led it in 98. I know that.
Do you remember that old video game commercial? I was named for a sound of a goal being scored. That was I think it was a claim NHL power play. Let's go to the next guy because I saved this one to make sure Jimmy had to answer it. Patrick Elias.
I'm putting him in. Like, here's my case, and I'm not even looking at his numbers. This is been my case for years. If guys like Henrik Sedin, Daniel Sedin, and Daniel Alfredsson are in the Hockey Hall of Fame, why isn't Patrick Elias in the Hockey Hall of Fame? But for a period, he was one of the best wingers in the National Hockey League on the A line with probably one of the best lines for a team that's supposed to play defense during the time when they were top 10 in offense in the New Jersey Devils when they were winning Stanley Cups and went to a cup final and lost to the Colorado Avalanche. Everybody forgets after the Olympics in 2006, he almost died and came back and went on this run to help the Devils get first place in the whatever it was at the time, Atlantic Division or whatever division it was called at the time. And, went on a tear against the Rangers in the 06 playoffs, constant professional, 1,000 points. You could look at his goal totals and everything, and you could look at his international resume, and he's done well with the Czech Republic out there. Won a Golden Stick, by the way. That's pretty hard to do internationally. Again, I look at the guys that have gone in, before him, and I say, well, if those guys are in, never won Stanley Cups, yes, they've won gold medals. Patrick Elias, to me, is a Hall of Famer. I wouldn't put him first ballot, but to me, he was a Hall of Famer. Like, I don't know where the New Jersey Devils are without Patrick Elias. When you have your number retired with greats like Stevens, Danico, Niedermayer, and Brodeur, one of 5 players in the franchise's history, draft pick alone, could have left, didn't.
Almost left.
Almost left
to the Rangers, too, of all teams.
Yep. And Lou upped the contract and gave in. I don't.
Which tells you what Lou thought of him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So to me, he's in. I'm putting him in the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't care if it's a bias or not. But again, I make the point of Alfredsson and the Sedin brothers, like all these guys that have had good careers, but they don't have a lot of the hardware Elias does.
Yeah. And
set up a game-winning goal in 2000 and beat the Flyers single-handedly in 2000.
Filk?
This was a really, really tough one for me. I mean, 104th all-time in goals in 408, 96 in assists, 617, 1,025 points, which is 92nd. When you put the context there, he was playing on a defensive first team with not a ton of offensive talent on it. The most talented offensive team they had was that 2000-2001 team.
Yep.
I mean, Arnott, that A-line were all point per game. Sure, Arnott missed a bunch of games, but he was a point per game too that year. He's second all-time in Czech-born players. The thing with Elias is that there's only 4 point per game seasons, only 2 top 10 finishes in scoring, and he only 1 top 10 finish in Hart Trophy voting. So where does he stack up amongst his generation? And his international resume is not really strong enough. But I will say this. For what he did in his era, and that dead puck era is pretty impressive considering the style of hockey he was forced to play due to the coaching. The other thing that I'll say is I've used this argument for Alexander McGillney. Alexander McGillney, to a greater level, was a trailblazer for Russians. He was absolutely a trailblazer for Russians. But you have to use that same argument for Patrick Elias then for Czech players. Even though Jágr was the first, and Jágr really was the guy, Patrick Elias kind of took that torch after Jágr started to decline a little bit and was like, hey, like, I'm one of the best Czech players here. Kids looked up to him in Czech Republic. Like, do you think there's David Pasternak's and guys like that without the influence
Pavel
of Patrick
Zacha
Elias?
looked up to him. I think that's what threw Zacha's game off the year Elias retired. Like, they were playing on a line together. And if Elias stayed, maybe Zacha's career's a little bit better, right? Maybe because the adjustment there.
Maybe.
I mean, guys like that. I mean, so again, I come in as a bias. I watched his whole career, and I watched him through that entire. We all did. I just
think that he's Hall of Very good, but I do think that they're going to look at that and they're going to say, hey, like, this guy was one of the better players of his time, and he's one of the most important figures in Czech hockey history. And I think impact on the game in your home country and what you meant to the game factors into how they look at you.
And he was a nice guy.
Yeah, and he was always a class individual. The media loved him. He was never a dick or anything like that to the media. So I do think that, you know, like, I think that they're going to look at that and they're going to say, hey, I think he's worth it. And I do agree with you. Although the Sedins have individual awards and Elias doesn't, how much better were they in their eras than Elias was in his? And Alfredson, too, who doesn't have any individual awards.
Yeah,
if Alfredson's in, why is Elias not at that point?
And don't forget, look at the playoff, too. Elias was a better playoff performer than those 3 guys.
Yeah, and I got to give you that as well. I mean, even though Alfredson did send the Senators to the Stanley Cup Final.
So did Patrick Elias. He said the Devils, like I said, in Game 7 in 2000, he scored the game winner with a minute left. So
didn't Patrick Elias have the assist on Arnott's?
Yeah. He set up the game-winning goal in 2000.
On a Stanley Cup winning goal, not even a game winner, just a Stanley Cup winner.
Yeah. I mean, I remember they went to the corner. He just backhanded it in front right there.
And that was the game Sikora got destroyed in by Hatcher.
Yeah, he knocked him right out of that game with a massive, nasty concussion.
Yeah.
Look, one way to also look at this too, you look at it and say, did he get 1,000 points? Because 1,000 points is still a marker that you have to go to. Usually 500 and 1,000 are 2 markers you have to look at. Did he win a Stanley Cup? Did he win multiple Stanley Cups? Was he clutch in those playoffs? He could have made arguments for Conn Smythe the years that the Devils won the cup for him. But one thing that does help, he's a one-player team. A one-team player.
Yeah.
Where he only played for one franchise his entire career. There's a mark that when a guy, because as you said before, Henrik Lundqvist never played for the Washington Capitals. I think that's one thing that helped him. Like, you'd rather see a Patrick Elias almost more than a Marian Hossa, who played on.
No, I disagree
No,
there.
Hossa was his own animal.
No,
but-
I mean their own animals, but guys that changed around franchises.
Well,
rapidly.
Hossa did what was best for Hossa.
Here's the other thing. Patrick Elias, you made the mistake before and you said one player team.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really the focal point of the defensive first team for years. Years.
And he was
how many
really
players
good
did he make
defensively.
around him better? He made Sikora better.
Yeah.
He made Parise better.
He made
He
Gianta
made
better.
Arnott better. I mean, everybody that played on his line was better for playing with him.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to be said, especially in the dead puck era, where his peak really was. Like that, and the fact that he was able to put up 96 points in a low-scoring season, and I mean, even though it was a spike compared to the other seasons before, but he was a 40-goal, 96-point player that finished third in scoring behind Sakic and Yager that year. So, Patrick Elias, I do think deserves to get in. I don't think it's going to be a first ballot.
Well, no, he's missed his first. This is I think it's like his 7th year, 6th year,
something like that. Yeah, like he's obviously not a first ballot guy, but like I think at some point he does have to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a lot of players that they've left New Jersey and their offensive games opened up a lot more.
Or some guys' offensive games went the other way.
Yeah. Elias was one player that was always great on New Jersey. Guys, we got 3 more names we're going to do, and then we'll take some questions before we head on out. We are doing our weekly show. Don't forget to make sure you tune into us on Wednesday. But let's go with this one. I know he's in, and I've seen lists that put him as the greatest goalie of all time. That's why I'm rolling my eyes. Jim, Carey Price.
I mean, Carey Price is a great goaltender. He's a great goaltender in Montreal. I mean, he's probably one of the best goalies ever to win a Stanley Cup. But, look, I'll get heat for this in Montreal. He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. The only reason he's going to get in on the first ballot is because it's Montreal. It's the same reason Lundqvist got in. It's because he's playing in New York. Look, there's some guys up there that I talked to during that year that when he went in, they're like, the only reason he went in is because of New York. I'm like, yeah, but he had a good career. It's like, yeah, but he does it any place else he's in on the first ballot. Again, do I agree with it? There's part of it, some of it, but he's in. That's why Carey Price is getting in. And he played in Montreal, and there's going to be a backing for Carey Price. He took the Canadians to a Stanley Cup final. Yes, it was COVID. Yes, I get it. Yeah, I get it. Won an Olympic gold medal. What he did internationally for Canada, that's going to matter. That's why he gets in on the first ballot.
Yeah, that's where I'm. All right, I'm jumping in real quick on this one because unfortunately, I need to disconnect myself from the Price versus Lundqvist markers on this. But Price, yeah, he's going to get in for his Olympics, his World Juniors, which were incredible when he was in the World Juniors. He was practically a brick wall that he couldn't get past. But the 2010, the 2009, 2010 season when they got upset in the playoffs, and Yaroslav Halak was really the guy that was in there.
And I think the individual award will help him because he won the Hart Trophy and he won a Vezina in the same year.
Yeah, he won all and the Jennings and the Pearson. Yeah. But you're also talking about a great season for that.
And Lindsay and
there were some peaks and valleys in there for him. I put I put Carey Price in. I'm not sure if he's first ballot. I put Carey Price in because the man's a great human being. I mean, obviously everybody knows that. You look at some peaks and valleys though. You talk about like his 2013 playoffs where he only played 4 games, 894 save percentage, and was outed by the Ottawa Senators that year. That's actually, do I have the right year on that one? Yes, I do. At other times he played well, but it's just he's in. It's just where I have trouble, guys. I know I'm talking out on the internet, and there are people that think he's the best goalie since the lockout. Sorry, he had a good peak and a lot of valleys. Filk.
Oh, well, this one's tough for me. He's 23rd all time in wins, 361. He's 34th in shutouts with 49. He's 39th in goals against with a 251. And he's 15th in save percentage with a 917. Again, save percentage and goals against is minimum 200 games played. So he's probably higher if you rank that up to like 500 games. That 2014-15 season is one of the best seasons we've ever seen from a goalie.
Oh, yeah.
44 wins, 44, 16, and 6, 9 shutouts, 196 goals against, and a 933 save percentage. He's led the NHL in wins twice. He's led the NHL in goals and save percentage, goals against save percentage that year, 2015. But Olympic gold, Olympic World Cup of Hockey gold, and World Junior gold in 2007, and epic.
Oh, great World Junior.
Great World Junior final game. But the problem is for me is that he has really 5 standout seasons. And they're not like consecutively. They're not in a row. That 2015-16 season could have been. They probably would have won the Vezina that year, but he only played like 12 games. But he was dominating those 12 games.
Yeah, he was.
But he only has 3 other top 5 finishes in Vezina voting, and he was a finalist one other time. So for me, the problem I have when I look at it, my dilemma is, if his peak was so short, how did he manage to rack up 361 wins? Like, it's one of those anomalies that just makes zero sense to me.
Canadians are so good. Wow.
And I think that he's going to get in eventually. I don't buy the narrative that he was the best goalie of his generation. No, I think that's Lundqvist for sure. And yeah, you could call me biased, but when you start off your career with 930 win seasons in a row, you are the epitome of consistency. Like, there's no one that's done that other than Lundqvist.
And then tack on 21 seasons, and you go to much further.
Yeah, no, of course. And again, if not for 2012, 2013, he would have had that 10th 30-win season, and he should have won the Vezina that year, Lundqvist. But another story. But Price, I think he gets in. I do. I don't know if I would put him in there just because I think the peak is not long enough for me. Like, all right, so one of the things I always found interesting about the MLB voting for the Hall of Fame was that you had to have like 8 to 9 like really good Hall of Fame caliber seasons. But Price doesn't come close to that. There's only 5. And he's had other decent seasons, but like, there's not enough there for me.
But the international stuff would put him in for you, would it?
That's where I think he gets in. I think 361 wins is really good. And people are going to look at like the teams that he played on, and he never had great offensive talent on those teams. Like, they were never like offensive juggernaut. It wasn't like Ken Dryden, who was playing in front of anywhere from 8 to 10 Hall of Famers every year in front of him. Like, Price wasn't playing with anybody great.
He had a Norris Trophy winner.
What's up?
He had a Norris Trophy winner.
Yeah, 1 year.
Again,
in a small
Markov. I'd even make, and I'd say Markov was the biggest reason why that defense was good in Montreal.
Yeah, well, Markov was underrated.
Way underrated.
But I think that Carey Price is very good. His peak was incredible. I just don't think his peak was long enough. But I do think the international stuff is going to he has an Olympic gold, a world championships, and a World Juniors and a World Cup of Hockey gold. And the only thing he's missing is that World Championships gold. And if he would have gotten that, he'd have been a part of that triple gold club, and that would have locked him in for sure.
Phil, sorry about that. I started that sentence to say, if anybody wants to complain about Chris Kreider and Carey Price, blame Dmitry Emelin, who tripped him.
He did trip him.
Yep.
Emelin tripped him.
And we got 2 more names left. Let's go to Henrik Zetterberg. Phil, start it off.
Hank, good player.
I wonder if there's enough here. He's 93rd in assists, which is the only stat that he has within the top 100 all time, with 623 assists. I mean, he's got a career 88 points per game, 0.88 points per game, which, I mean, for the type of defensive center that he was pretty good. He's a Conn Smythe Trophy winner, 4-point per game seasons. He won a King Clancy. He won an Olympic gold and a World Championship gold in the same year in 2006. But there's not enough standout seasons. There's no major individual awards. I think the international might get him in. But he only had, I believe, 2 top 5 finishes in Selke voting. But there was kind of a guy on that team that took away a lot of votes from him. Yeah. And I do think he may have won one if he wasn't on the same team as Pavel Datsyuk.
Yeah.
But I got to say no. I know people point to Sedin's. I don't think there's enough here for Zetterberg. And I love Zetterberg. I would have killed to have had him on the Rangers. Great player for me, but I don't think that there's enough.
Jimmy, what do you think?
I agree with Phil. I don't think there's enough there for him. I mean, yeah, he's got the Conn Smythe, right? He's got the gold medal, right? He's got the 2 Olympic medals. But if they go back to back in 2008 and 2009, okay, then there's a little bit more of a conversation. Detroit lost to Pittsburgh the following year. Yeah, he was a good player for the Detroit Red Wings. I mean, he helped keep that streak going. But, I mean, his numbers start to tail off a little bit towards the end. Again, best season was 07, 08. And that's the year he won the Conn Smythe Trophy. Yeah, great for what he did when he got picked. I'm not sure he's getting in because I think Pavel Datsyuk really took center stage for the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, if you got to pick one of the 2 players off the Detroit Red Wings at that time, it's Pavel Datsyuk.
Yeah, both guys. Love both players, by the way.
Yeah, he had the benefit of playing with Nicholas Lidstrom behind him.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't mean to sound like I'm knocking Henrik Zetterberg in any way, but when you have Nicholas Lidstrom as your assistant, if you will, to take the top players out of the game, that's a pretty good guy to help you with that. And Pavel Datsyuk as well while you're at it. So you're going to be nominated for Selke every single year. I really like Henrik Zetterberg. I really do. I think he's a hell of a player. I traded him in a franchise fantasy league for Paul Correa back in 2006. I regretted it immediately. And thank you, Craig. And yeah, we're gonna be talking more about the Isles on Wednesday when talking about their run that they're on. But I gotta say no one's Zetterberg, and I'm gonna try to make the case for one more guy after this. But Zetterberg is one of those guys. I feel bad that I have to say no.
Yeah,
really good player. Didn't get to 1,000 points. And yeah, he did win a Conn Smythe, but not really any other awards.
Yeah.
I mean, just really, really good player. I can't stress it enough. No, just not enough. Not enough to get him in there. All right, guys. And the last one is the guy that I threw on there at the end is Mike Richter. Phil, we'll have you go last, but first, Jim, because you would actually put him in, right?
I would put him in. Just what he did. I mean, I know he only has the 1 Stanley Cup. He doesn't have the greatest of all-time numbers, but what he did internationally, especially in 96 for Team USA, 2002, has to account for something in this. It is the Hockey Hall of Fame, after all. 94 with the Rangers he was a great goalie for the New York Rangers. Unfortunately, injuries cut his career short. To me, he's in because there's a lot of goalies that aren't in. And again, we could talk about comparables and all this stuff. I always just say if it's again who you know, but I wouldn't have put Luongo in first ballot. I just wouldn't. I would have had Richter in already, but that's just me.
Yeah, problem with Luongo is you're talking about a guy that's got over 470 wins.
Right,
So,
exactly. But again, no Stanley Cup.
Yeah, but he did win 3 with the Islanders back in those days, so I guess that's something. The reason why I'm going to go next is because Phil said he's going to surprise me. But you look at his accomplishments, as you said, he was the 19th goalie to win 300 games. That's back when it mattered. He won the World Cup MVP in 1996. That was the first time they were having professional in there. He was a silver medalist in 2002 and dominated the Olympics at that time. 2-1-1 record with a 932 save percentage. He led the league in wins in 94, obviously 42. From 1993 to 2002, he won 227 games in only 506 games. Only Chris Osgood had a better winning percentage in that time. He had the 4th most saves in the NHL from 97 to 2001, and that was only in 301 games. He was a 3-time All-Star when that mattered, and he right now is 7th among U.S.-born goaltenders with 301 wins, and he was 3rd among his contemporaries at the time. Now, he didn't win any major awards. You could argue he was good but never dominant. And Phil, I will acquiesce to you.
I'm going to say no. I just don't think there's enough there. And you want to talk about if I'm going to slam Carey Price for a 5-year peak, I got to do the same to Mike Richter. And I know Richter got afflicted by injuries, and the dark ages were not kind to him, and he was one of the things that kept that team from being as bad as they could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that there's just not enough. And I do agree with you. 300 wins, when he got the 300 wins, that meant something back then. I just think that there were a lot of inconsistencies with him. There were times where he got blamed for some of those serious losses. 95 in Philly, 97 against Philly,
92 against Pittsburgh.
92 against Pittsburgh, he got blamed for with that 60-foot shot from Ron Francis. I think he was a very, very good goaltender, and I absolutely love Mike Richter. He was my favorite goaltender of all time until Henrik Lundqvist came along. But I still think that he just, to me, he was a part of the greatest goaltending generation of all time. But
yeah,
was he top 10 in that generation? Like, we already talked about my 5 and how Joseph was behind my big 4.
Mm-hmm.
Was he ahead of Van Beesbroek? No. Even though Richter got the cup and Van Beesbroek did, Van Beesbroek's peak from like 94 to 98 was better than Richter's outside of the 96 World Cup. His NHL numbers were better than Richter's. He had more higher Vezina finishes, plus a Vezina trophy. Was he ahead of Barrasso?
Yes. I think he's ahead of Barrasso.
Well, Barrasso's, that means since Barrasso's in the Hockey Hall of Fame, that makes
Richter would have to be in Barrasso. I don't.
The thing is, but you're staying in the 90s. I think Barrasso probably had him beat till 92.
Well, don't forget there was a time period. Don't forget there was a time period where Barrasso stepped away. Ken Reggett came in, but then Barrasso came back. Barrasso was on, I believe, was the starting goaltender for the Penguins in '96.
You're correct.
When they had that like dominant team that probably should have won and lost to Florida.
Yeah,
in Game 7. Yeah.
Well, he ended up losing the starting job during that playoff run.
Right, to Reggett.
Yeah. And I mean, and maybe but the thing is that Barrasso's career for me is, I mean, it's a better career than Richter's. I mean, I don't really know how you could look at it and say it's not a better career.
I think Barrasso's got the better NHL career, I think Richter's got the better international career.
Oh, of course. Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely true.
And it's sort of like if you almost could combine those resumes, but you can't.
I mean, do you put Osgood ahead of Richter?
No.
I mean,
With
he
all due
has
respect to
better
Chris
looking
Osgood.
numbers, but Chris Osgood to me, and I'm not trying to slam him, very good goalie, but
No one
I
is.
don't think he was one of the most 5 important players on the Red Wings in any of those years they won.
Look, I think what stands out about Chris Osgood is he did it in '98 and got out of Mike Vernon's shadow.
Yeah.
And in 2008.
Yeah, and there was a lot of question marks about Chris Osgood because he was – but people forget Chris Osgood was the starter in '96.
When they lost.
When they lost to Colorado. So, and like everybody knows Ozzy could do it. To me, I don't even think here's the issue is like how many like goalies are we putting in here? Because I'm not sure if Ozzy gets in, even though he's got the 2 cups.
Do you put Vernon ahead of Richter in the 90s?
Maybe
that's another one.
Maybe one season.
That might be a tie.
I mean, it's close because in the 90s, Vernon wasn't the goaltender. I mean, he won the Conn Smythe and he won them the cup in '97. But, I mean, he was very up and down in the 90s.
Yeah, and he got and let's be honest, he got shelled against the Devils.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's true.
I mean, he was not good in that series against New Jersey.
I mean, he wasn't. Brodeur absolutely bested him in that series, and Brodeur made him look foolish almost.
Yeah.
But that New Jersey team overall absolutely blitzed
everybody. They blitzed everybody.
Well, yeah, it's just defensive and physical play. But what I was trying to say was that that Detroit team reminded me exactly of the 2018-19 Lightning.
Yeah.
They had all that offensive talent, and they looked like they were going to run through everybody, but they needed more depth and grit. And they needed the guys that could come in the bottom 6 to balance out those guys. And that's when they made they moved Primo and Coffey and brought in Shanahan and Murphy and made everything, that changed it. But New Jersey was the team that really prompted them to start making those changes because that series was a wake-up call for them. Stevens absolutely destroying Slava Kozlov. That was a game changer.
What a hit.
Yeah. But, I mean, again, when Chris Osgood's a guy that gets both almost no credit and some disrespect, but he's the guy that would make the big saves and make the saves that were required. When you look at Chris Osgood in the totality of his career, look, there's 2 things I'm going to look at, even more so than his first stint with Detroit. I'll look at his second stint with Detroit and his stint with the Islanders. Because when he went to the Islanders, suddenly they were a playoff team. Suddenly they were right there. I just can't help but wonder.
He was very good for them.
Yeah, he was real good. Just if there was a team that actually said we need Chris Osgood to win us a game, and could he ever do that? And he won 400 games. So it's not like he did this being a nobody. He's definitely there. But I would never consider Chris Osgood for the Hall of Fame.
No.
And I don't mean to like take a shot at him or anything. I'm just saying it never will occur to my mind to make him a Hall of Famer. So no. But as far as Richter goes, I do think 300 wins in his era says something.
Yeah, because he never played in the shootout era, which, again, that was the point I was trying to know. Again, not a shot at Brodeur, not a shot at anybody else that's played in the shootout era, but you were able to collect more wins because you were getting decisions and not ties. And that added to a lot of people's win totals.
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like how when the Edmonton Oilers went for the win streak record, and I forgot if they broke. I think they broke it a couple years ago, right?
What?
The one, the Oilers, the win streak against the Islander win streak record.
For
guys,
what?
I'm sorry, I'm doing this from memory. Anyway, But the Penguins, that's what it was. The Penguins
Yeah.
win streak record. Sorry, I went to the wrong one. When the
Yeah.
Penguins got the win streak record back in 93,
Yeah.
everybody was quick to point out the Islanders didn't have the benefit of overtime in that era.
Right.
So you had to win those games in regulation. And the Penguins were able to do that in overtime. It's just the errors of the game, there's some things you have to interpret. And yeah, a little bit of it is I watched Mike Richter and the guy conducted himself with the decorum of a saint. So I would have put him in, but then where does that leave me with guys like Van Beesbrook or Miller or Jonathan Quick? Jonathan Quick, I think I put in anyway, but that's a different story. But I still will make the case every single year for Mike Richter. There's another question I ask, and I still think about doing a video about this, Phil. Would the New York Rangers have won the Stanley Cup with John Van Beesbrook in '94?
I think so. I think they would have won it. And again, this is nothing against Mike Richter or Glenn Healy, but they had their inconsistencies at times, and it kind of cost them in at certain points in each series, or the last few series, I should say. I mean, I think if Richter was a little more consistent with the Devils, but then again, part of that was coaching, and that was Keenan, because he knew that if they screwed up, they did anything wrong, Keenan was going to put them on the bench, and he even did that in Game 5, where he went back and forth with them. And just you can't do it. You can't do that. And I'm sorry, Van Beesbrook was very, very good. I do think that I just think that his absolute peak, like that 94 through like 97, maybe 98 peak, he was one of the top 5 or 6 best in the league at that time. And again, that was the greatest. That 90s run of goaltending was the greatest generation I've ever seen. I just think that Van Beesbrook was better and more consistent at his peak. And I know that Richter won that starting job over him in the 92 playoffs. I get it, but Van Beesbrook was the runner-up for the Vezina in 94. He was he had, I think, 2 other top 3 finishes for the Vezina from 94 to 97. And he dragged Florida to that Stanley Cup final in 96. Like, I'm sorry, that Florida roster, you could talk about McLean's coaching and everything and Scott Mellon being the Rats and all that other stuff, but that roster was simply not good enough. It wasn't. And they played a tough brand of hockey to play against, and that's how they got past Pittsburgh, pissing off Mario and Nedved and Sandstrom and Yager and all those guys. But Van Beesbrook was the reason they got past Pittsburgh.
So looking at this class for next year, though, so we all agree Bergeron's going in pretty much no matter what.
Yeah.
How many players get to go in? Do they take 3?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. It varies from year to year.
Okay.
Let's just say we're not going to have another class where it's just Dino Ciccarelli.
Yeah. So let's say 5 go in.
Yeah.
So Bergeron's a lock. Brindamore get in?
Probably not.
Okay. And we're going to say Julie Chu for the women.
I don't know who's up for the builder. I don't know who's on builder side either.
Yeah.
That's like, I don't know who's on the builders.
But Ryan Getzlaf, do you think they leave him off for the first time?
Well, I know Carey Price is first year eligible, so Price is probably going to get in first ballot.
Yeah, he's definitely getting in.
I really don't think he should be getting in first ballot.
I don't think so either, but I'm just telling you how this thing works.
Right.
Yeah,
now,
I think
by
the
the way,
Canadian media is going to get him in on the first ballot. I think you're right about that.
And by the way, just to echo in with this, you have
just way too short of a peak.
Because they're gonna put him in first ballot, but then you get guys like Elias and Kachuk that we then have to debate: can they make it in? I mean, I think again, I still think Keith Kachuk was a Hall of Famer. I
So
thought he
do
was a
I.
Hall of Famer. All along.
You know what? Honestly, that 500-2,000 did it for me. Like I used to not think it before, but looking at the rare air that he was in, the type of player he was, and really where his peak was, like right in the dead puck. I think if Keith Kachuk played today, you're looking at him as like a top 10 player in the league.
Yeah.
He would be
He's
a
rare.
slower version than Matthew, maybe. He'd be a little bit more towards Brady, I think.
Yeah.
So he is a more skilled version of. I think maybe Matthew might have better hands, and he's a better playmaker. But Keith, for sure, was a far better shooter than either of his sons. He was a far better physical presence than either of his sons. And Brady sometimes takes like dumb penalties that like end up in the box. Like Keith was super, super skilled.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd saying a Marshawn Horvat hybrid, you could say for him. But
I mean, Keith Kachuk was so good. What he did.
He was incredible, man. He was incredible.
Yeah, so that covers that. And looking at this class, we'll stay 5 more minutes. We'll take any user comments or anything. I still look at this list, and they're a good list. There are some guys that are compilers. I think Jason Spezza was a compiler. I would put him in that category.
I think Bernie Nichols might be a little bit of a compiler too. Like he had 1 point per game season after the trade to Edmonton, which was 95-96, and it was a shortened season where he missed some time. But I just think that he's a compiler. I think Vinny Damphousse was a compiler.
Yeah.
Very good play. Again, where do these guys rank in their generations? Like Keith Kachuk at his peak was a lot closer to being the best player in the league than a lot of these guys on this list.
He was, when you drew up a power forward in the late 90s,
Keith Kachuk.
I think that's what you thought of.
Yep.
Lindros was 1.
Yeah.
Lindros was absolutely number 1 in that category, and there's no argument otherwise. Like, I mean, defenses literally, like teams literally drafted defenders that were 6'4" and 220, 230 pounds, or that grew to be that, just to combat Lindros. And they still couldn't do it.
Yeah. You get guys like Eric Herons coming into the league. You're like, yeah.
I mean, yeah, Kachuk's so good at what he did.
Then there's
Billy G.
Shanahan right there,
Yeah.
LeClaire.
LeClaire was great. Another UVM guy, by the way.
Yep. Another University of Vermont guy.
Yep. Another UVM guy.
He's the guy. He's the last guy because he had back-to-back OT winners in the.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He was big for them in that series.
I mean, the biggest call in that series was the Marty McSorley.
Yeah, that was
That's a
wild. McSorley playing with a stick like that.
I mean,
the
word on the street is the equipment the guys in the Montreal bench knew something was up.
Yeah, they had inside information on it, and that's when they went and did it. But the craziest part is that Eric Desjardins was using probably more of an illegal curve than McSorley was. And then he had a hat trick, and they didn't know it. So they probably could have gotten Eric Desjardins for it.
Yeah. And if the Kings go up 2-0, who knows?
Yeah, I think. And Gretzky put up arguably his best postseason ever in that year because.
Well, at least with the Kings.
Yeah, but I mean, that Kings team wasn't that Edmonton team.
No. Yeah, and here's the thing. You look at that Edmonton roster in 85 when he had that 47-point postseason, which is still the record. And you look at that 93 Kings roster, and the rosters just aren't comparable at all. They
We'll have
are
a lot of former Edmonton players on there, but they're a
no,
lot
of
older
course,
than
but
when they were.
they're not compatible. They're not comparable in the sense that like a lot of those guys are not in their prime at that point. Like they're well out of their prime. Curry is nowhere close to the
No, yeah,
player.
Curry's not even close to the guy he was.
He had 17 points in 24 games. Granado had 17 points in 24 games. Robitaille had 22 in 24 games. And Tomas Sandstrom had 25 in 24 games. But a lot of that was Gretzky. And you know what the craziest part is? Gretzky led in all three categories. He also led in game winners with 3. And he led in even strength goals with 10 of his 15 coming at even strength. Wow. It wasn't a power play merchant fest or anything like that. No.
And I think he had a shorthanded goal too.
He did.
Yeah, he had a shorthanded goal. This is 93 we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the second goal of his
game 7 against Toronto.
Game 7 hat trick was his shorty. So
no, and State of Survival, no Cornells, no Ronings.
No, they're not getting in. No.
Shane Corson,
Shucks make it one day.
What are we doing here?
Could Chucks make it one day? Maybe.
Who?
I mean,
Matthew and Brady. Maybe
they're the only two that I could think of.
Maybe.
Matthew. I don't know about Brady. Needs to start putting up more points if he.
And he needs to start winning.
That too.
Yes.
Matthew is on a trajectory for it. Like, let's be real here. He is on an absolute trajectory for it. I mean, he doesn't have the
hardware,
like the accolades, like the awards or anything like that. But I mean, he's got 636 points in 642 games. So he's very close to a point per game player. And he's one of a handful of Americans with multiple and back-to-back 100-point seasons. Oh, if you're talking just tough guys in the slot, then that's a different story. My bad then. But
right, but
I thought you were talking these guys from Hall of Fame, like State of Survival was saying.
Well, yeah.
No.
So I do think the Kachucks, if they could get their stuff together, I mean, yeah, definitely. I would love to try to make a case for the Hughes brothers, but let's see if they could play 5 games in a row. I say that as a joke, of course, obviously. But as James is saying right here, the problem with the Hall is that they induct people every single year, and in my opinion, they should induct 5 every year. It prevents the good player Hall of Fame conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, and Prop is another one of those that falls into very good. He was one of the better scorers of the 80s, but he's got like 1,000 points flat, I think.
Yeah.
And again, no individual awards.
Nope.
No, like in 1,004 in 1,016 games.
Yeah,
and he got that playing mostly in a high-scoring era. And provided he was one of the better scorers of that decade. But if you look at it, no top 10 Selke finishes, even though he got some votes. 1 top 10 Hart finish in 86, which was his best season. No 100-point seasons for a guy that played in a very high-scoring era, his peak years. Again, very good player, but not good enough.
So, by the way, I asked the question before. Conn Smythe Trophy winners and Super Bowl MVPs with the same last name. And I said
Williams
Justin and Doug Williams. Can you guys guess the other 2?
Super Bowl MVP and Conn Smythe winner?
Yeah.
It's not Dryden.
No.
What's one of the most popular names on earth?
Miller.
More popular.
What?
More popular.
Smith.
And now who are they?
Well, Billy Smith.
Smith, and then I don't know in football.
Emmitt Smith.
Smith.
Oh, Emmitt Smith. Duh. Wow.
The other 2, I believe, did it in the exact same year. And it was post-lockout.
Post-lockout? Okay. Well, who won in 2007? Oh, Niedermeyer, but no, there's no Niedermeyer in football.
So, Cam Ward?
Ward,
And?
yeah. Who won?
Heinz Ward.
Heinz Ward. Yeah.
Because Heinz Ward had the touchdown pass in the Super Bowl.
That's right. He
Seahawks.
had been in Bettis' final year. Yeah.
Yeah.
People forget Roethlisberger is one of the worst rated quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl.
2.
But him winning the second one, that was him throwing 300 yards and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was about to
first
say. I mean, the second MVP, that was Santonio
Holmes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Couldn't
I
beat that
still will
insane
debate
catch
to
in the
you,
corner.
his foot was on top of his other foot, and it never touched the ground. But that's just me and what I saw. So yeah. Joe Graves is saying right here, and by the way, Joe Graves.
Well, this is what I was getting at before when I talked about the baseball thing, and that was probably where I heard it from.
Probably.
But that or MLB Network. But yeah, you would have to talk about these guys like in bold print seasons. Like, and I could think of 5 for Carey Price. And then after that, he had like 1 or 2 seasons where it was like shortened and he wasn't the full-time starter. And then, top 5 finishes too. Like you gotta look at that.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with that because look, that's what hurts some other conversations have. Certainly would hurt Richter, certainly would hurt Getzlaff, certainly would hurt a lot of the guys that we said that we'd put in. But it's sometimes guys just don't win because some other guy was electric in one year. That's one thing I kind of want to caution people on that. Or it was, take for instance, winning a Vezina trophy in the 90s. Good luck. You were named either Waugh, Brodeur, or Hasek, and one guy was able to eke out Jim Carrey.
No, Brodeur didn't win until 2003.
Oh, I said Brodeur. I meant to say Hasek. Belfour is who I meant to say.
Belfour won. Belfour won as a rookie, and probably for me, that's the second greatest rookie season I've ever seen behind Solani. Was 91, and Belfour basically swept everything, and he was a Hart Trophy finalist, I believe, that year too. And then he won again in 93. After 92, I believe, was Waugh. And that was Waugh's last, I believe.
Yeah.
But, 94, that was when Hasek started his reign. 94 and 95. He did not have the greatest year in 96 because Buffalo wasn't a good team.
Yep.
And then 97, Hasek was like, okay, like I'm going to have to drag this team. And he dragged them 3 years in a row, won 3 Vezinas. And then he got hurt in 2000, probably would have won it in 2000. And that was when Kolzig won it. And then he won it again in 2001. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Brodeur didn't win it because Theodore, I hated the fact that Theodore won it, but Canadian media played a big.
And he won the Hart that year too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They had a big part in that, in him winning it, and he had a great year in 2002. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't think that he was. I get the numbers like 931 save percentage was really good on that team, but I don't know.
Well, we're gonna be talking more about that this week, guys. We have a lot that we're going to cover on Wednesday. Make sure that you check us out. We'll be back with Anthony LaRocco of the Hockey News, as well as thank you to Full Tilt Hockey, Jim Biringer, who is joining us full time now. And of course, Filk. This is Full Press. Oh, God. I just went to
Full Tilt Poker.
Full Tilt Poker,
that
baby.
Doesn't exist anymore for good reason.
Oh, yeah. That's a documentary I'd love to see. But anyway, Full Press NHL. Sorry, Jim.
It's all right.
Duke.
It's not the worst.
It's not like the Miami Ducks, I guess.
No, it's not.
When we talk for 2 hours, we're now at 234. You know, you're gonna have gaffes. So
That's all right.
yeah. All right. So guys, we're gonna cut it here. We'll see you on Wednesday. Talk to you all soon.
Peace.